Yes, hello. I am James Rowland. Today it's WNR 572. It's WWE Summerslam 2025. I think this is the 10th Summerslam reviewed on the WNR podcast as well. It has been incredible. Luckily, I'm not alone. I have a pleasure to be joined by the entire WNR team. Up first by my side for every WWE and AEW show, it is, of course, the fantastic Jaxie Scarlett. How's it going, Jaxie?
Hello, welcome, welcome. I'm very excited to kind of backtrack a little bit and get back to date with SummerSlam. It's been a while, so
Yeah.
we
I mean,
finally
we
got
did We did the party, didn't we? The SummerSlam live party. We
we did.
knew, we
We
knew
did.
how busy our summers were. You know, uh,
Exactly.
it was good to finally get round to it.
Exactly. Yes, I'm ready to review.
Without a doubt. Up next, our resident NXT expert and New Japan demigod. It is Monty. How's it going, man?
Doing good. Excited to be here. It's a great point you mentioned about how busy our summers were, but it's not even just us too. Like the wrestling world just never stops at this point, so it's just always something else going on. So it's always cool to kind of take some time to get caught up because oh man, a lot has happened really really fast.
But I remember you saying it to me once, so I will tell the listener as well. Don't panic, everybody. We will catch up with everything eventually, like you said. But at
Right.
the moment in time, it's just we're doing SummerSlam now. So that's what we're going to do. So last, but by no means least, and I tell you what, the nights when the wind was so cold and that my body froze in my bed, if I just listened to it right outside the window, but there were days when the sun was so cruel that all the tears turned to dust, and I just knew my eyes were drying up forever. There were moments of gold and there were flashes of light. There were things we'd never do again, but then they'd always seem right. There were nights of endless pleasure. It was more than all your laws allow. Baby, 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 when you touch me like this, when I hold me like that, it was gone with the wind, but it's all coming back to me. When I see you like this, when I see you like that, then we see what we want to see, all coming back to me now. Baby, baby, baby. It's Gina. She's come back to me, everybody. Hi, Gina.
Hi, James. I loved
Oh,
it. I missed your singing.
oh, so glad you're back. Someone that appreciates me, I hope you're well as well.
I was gonna say, I bet you missed me and my praise for your singing. Left you with Monty, who definitely
Oh.
tunes out.
Boo. No, it's great to have you back. And like I said, you're here for SummerSlam. You might have missed the party, but you're here for the main show.
Yep, I sure am. I am bringing the summer to that party, and for sure, I can't wait to get into this review. It was a big show for sure, and my little 8-year-old niece really got into it too. So I've got a few notes
Oh.
from her. Basically, she loved it all.
Well, like I said, it is historic because it is the first ever two-night SummerSlam event. And thanks to the SummerSlam live party, we can actually start with the event right away. So, New Jersey, August 2nd, night one, the kickoff, the first of a 3 hour countdown. So, first off, go fuck yourself for giving me 3 hours to watch. Michael Cole, Biggie, Wade, Jackie Redmond, Pete in Robertsburg, Kathy Kelly, Byron Sexton, Megan Morant, Sam Robertsburg, Joe Tess. Eventually, we got a Rox and Raquel interview. Jelly Roll was interviewed by Jackie. Drewski joined the panel. I can't wait for his match next year. No idea. Memories of Beaches and Summertime Fun. I think Lex slamming Luger was my favourite. Triple H interviewed in the Gorilla. Zayn interviewed. He was angry. Cross has a book out. They called Stephanie McMahon a legend. I mean, what a waste of time. And then before you know it, God bless America. And Jaxie, it seems like we talk about this on WWE every time. But 3 hours is just an insult to me sitting there watching it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I gotta admit, you were probably the only one who did that. I did not sit through 3 hours of that, so
Yeah, I
I
know.
feel for you. I feel for you.
Sometimes it's good background, sometimes it's not. Someone had to do it. Yeah, I took one for the
Yeah,
team.
I
Um,
appreciate that.
So onto the main show, and they called it a superstar arrival now for people walking in. And we got the fella from earlier doing the opening. Cardi B came out as the official host of SummerSlam to welcome us to the show. Jay had the first entrance, which got the crowd on his feet, which led to Roman Reigns and Jey Uso versus Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed. The bell rang, and all four men started brawling immediately. The cousins knocked the Brons out of the ring, and Uso asked for his music to play again so they could all dance more with the crowd. Jay ended up diving on him after Reed pulled the OTC out of the ring. Once things settled, it was Uso being cornered and double teamed. The Bronze kept Reigns down at ringside for a bit, isolating Uso. The Tribal Chief finally got the hot tag, went after Breakker. Everything he had, both he and Reed had big dives out of the ring, but Breakker sent the OTC over the announce table. Reigns and Uso hit the Usos 1D tag finisher, been able to get the win. The Tribal Chief saved Uso from a spear, which allowed him to hit Reed with a splash for the pin and the win. So, Monty, why don't you start us off here? And for me, anyway, it's weird to see Reigns start a show, but it did feel like a big moment as well, though.
Yeah, 100%. I think that was the most like you kind of had to get yourself together because a big event, seeing Roman be first, definitely got to get used to that. But it was still cool, you know. I thought this was really fun. Did a good job of getting everybody going. I think Jay was in his element, you know. Obviously, not only just as a tag veteran as he is, but I think they did a good job of letting him shine. But him and Braun also have great chemistry. You know, him and Braun Breaker, man, like some of the best stuff Jey Uso has been with his work with Braun Breaker. And if you ask me, and I thought they did really well together in this one. So overall, I must say my biggest takeaway was that the storytelling elements was the storytelling elements is my favorite part of this because Jay and Roman, if you go all the way back to the beginning of the bloodline, they've always told great stories. So I love that part of this match too. So this was a really fun opener. I think it did a great job, and it was a good way to start the show.
Yeah, without a doubt. And Gina, what's interesting as well, as we see like the bloodline develop, as Monty said, is Jey Uso rivaling, equaling Roman Reigns as a good guy because the reaction he's got. Do you know what I mean? It's crazy to think how popular Jey Uso actually is. It's not a catchphrase or theme song. It's just him being over.
Yeah, for sure. And especially when you realize as well that Jay isn't over because he is part of a twin tag team group either. He is that over just by himself, and that's
Mm.
what makes it even more incredible. The fact that, he was able to get that crowd behind him and they've stayed behind him this long. Again, what Monty touched on is, this kind of stems all the way back from, even COVID kind of times where it literally you just saw it was just Jay trying to build his own character and story and getting over as a singles person, let alone just a tag. And it's built up all the way from then. And you could hear it. You could even see like Roman looking out at the crowd at everyone just yeeting for Jay, and you could see the proudness in his face as well. I mean, the pops were still roaring for, OTC and for Roman to get the hot tag, which was nice. But again, like you said, they were both just so over individually that you can imagine, them tagging together is just going to make the whole stadium seem that much more louder.
Yeah, and again, Roman kind of sacrificed himself and showing to Jay, like, no, I do like to treat you as an equal now was a really nice touch.
Yeah, definitely. Especially because we know that Jay's done that countless times in the past for Roman.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But Jaxie, I mean, what did you think about the bronze? Because this was quite a big moment. Reed still had the shoes, and tell you what, Roman has got big feet. But Braun looked quite comfortable as well. Breaker, that is, singing to Roman with the straps up and straps down. Looks like he's ready for his moment.
Size 15, by the way.
Size 50. Whoa, hello, Roman.
Size 15. Wow. No, again, I do think that even though we've talked very highly about both Roman and Jay in this match to highlight, what Braun and Bronson were both able to like bring to this match. Like they've been doing excellent work with both of them and just also still came across just looking so dominant at certain points. There were certain moments in the match where you just kind of like, how are they going to get out of this? How are Jay and Roman going to like overcome like Bronson? Like I'm just itching now for that one-on-one battle because we know that that's coming. He's
Yeah.
taken two pairs of Roman's trainers now. Like Jake, like at this point, he's like, yeah, I'm taking this personally. So I'm just itching for that one-on-one match now.
Yeah, without a doubt. And Paul Heyman's called the Oracle now, so that's
I mean, how many
interesting.
more names is he gonna get? Seriously.
Yeah, he's got quite a few. But like I said, a good way to start night one. So we'll do scores out of 5. Monty, what would you give it?
Isn't an oracle just a wise man? Anyway, I give it 4.25.
Gina?
4.25, I think is good.
Yeah, 4 and a quarter. Jaxie?
Yeah, I'll go same.
Yeah. And I'm going to go 4 and a quarter as well. So that means predictions, the WNR Prediction League 2025. I don't know why we have to do this anymore, really. But after all, in weekend, the bonus league. Gina's on 10, James and Jaxie on 14. She caught me, I don't know how. Monty on 17, WWE, Monty on 6, Jaxie on 5, Gina on 4, James on 3. And AEW, we don't have to talk about that at the moment, but we all went Roman and Jay, and we're all on 1.
No,
The second.
no. Don't skip. Don't skip. Where are we with the predictions on AEW, James?
Oh,
That's not deprive our viewers of knowing the current stats. Come on.
well, Jax, you've only. I mean, Monty on 3, Gina on 2. I mean, Jax, you've only got 1. I mean, that's not great, is it? You know.
But,
So
but yeah. Well, but what about you?
yeah, well, I've got nothing at the moment, but I'm biding my
Yeah,
time. I'm
yeah. Okay, I
biding my
thought so.
time.
We just needed to confirm that, you know.
Oh, what a bitch. Right. So up next is Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez defending the women's tag team titles against Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. As Bliss and Flair tried to decide who would start, Rodriguez and Perez chose for them to be by attacking them and then tossing the Queen out of the ring. This led to the 2 smaller members of each team being the first legal competitors. Flair tagged in after a minute and ended up being double teamed for a long time. Perez and Rodriguez used quick tags to keep themselves fresh or dishing out punishment. They kept a brisk pace throughout the entire match, which kept the crowd invested. Bliss accidentally hit Flair with a big right hand when Raquel avoided the impact. That allowed the Judgment Day to regain upper hand, but not for long enough. Flair took out Rodriguez with a big boot, while Bliss hit Perez with his sister Abigail DDT for the win. Gina, what were your thoughts on this?
Um, it feels mixed, right? Okay, so I can see what they're trying to do with this tag team with Charlotte and Alexa. You know, Alexa is like one of the biggest baby faces, and she's helping to bring that baby face flair uh, to Flair in a way. So it's hard because sometimes you see Charlotte doing a smile at Alexa, and you're like, why does that feel so fake or forced? But I also don't think it is. I just don't think I'm used to seeing her smile so much and acting like a face that it feels fake or forced, you know? So
Mm.
it's been a lot to try and like, you know, look at Charlotte like a face, but I'm not gonna lie, it's working. You know, the crowd seem to be behind Charlotte because of this, you know, agreement that Charlotte has with Bliss, where they're not friends, but they're on a tag team. So I did feel like the match was going to go in their favor, because of how well they've kind of built this tag team of Charlotte and Bliss. But yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I really enjoyed this match more than I thought I was going to. I loved Roxanne and Raquel working together. I thought
Hmm.
they had a really good sort of chemistry working with each other, a little bit of similar to how Raquel works with Liv. I think it works with Roxanne being just as small as Liv, and you know, her being able to pick up Roxanne and dash her around. I thought that was really great. But I did see that they were going to possibly lose this to the new tag team here between Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss, and I thought I'd be more annoyed by it, but I actually wasn't. I thought it was a great match, and I liked how much chemistry all the women had in the ring together.
Yeah, a couple of excellent points there. Like you said, looks like Roxanne has been doing this for years, isn't it? You know, and again with Charlotte, seems she's doing a kind of Randy Orton, let's have fun type of run. And Jaxie, I mean, if you're falling to Charlotte now, she just wants friends. You know, she's happy with Lexi, but there is a part of me that thinks, how is this so over with the crowd, as Gina pointed out?
Yeah, I mean, I think you actually described what I would say currently is the persona of Charlotte Flair, which is like this sort of it does really remind me of this sort of Randy Orton, let's be like friends, but like quite, I don't know, I wouldn't call it necessarily over the top, but like it's forced at certain moments, like during their entrances. I don't really know if they know what to do with each other, and I end up feeling awkward watching them coming out with each other sometimes. Like it doesn't look like, it looks like Charlotte Flair's going in for a hug, but Alexa Bliss is trying to like dodge her. I don't know, but it is working. So, I mean, you've got to give it to them on that. And I think my sister brought up some very valid points. I think Raquel and Roxanne worked really well together in that, but so did Charlotte and Alexa. I think that they both gave off a great tag team vibe. So, I mean, at this point, I'm just going to go with it. I think that's the best I can say about that.
But I think you're right. If they're awkward, even when she calls her like Lexi and stuff like that, her name is
Yeah.
Alexa on TV. But again, if it's working, it's working. And it's wild to think that this was Raquel Rodriguez's first SummerSlam. So that's what success will do for you in a tag division. And again, Monty, I know you love two individuals beating a tag team, as we saw there. But again, the women's division haven't got any tag teams.
Yeah, I was about to say it's a little bit different with the women because they don't, like you said, they don't really got any legit teams anymore other than Judgment Day, and then you got Oscar and Kyrie, and then I mean, I guess you got the Secret Service. Other than that, who else is legitimately always a team? So,
Pretty
yeah, I
difficult
mean,
when they keep getting rid of at least one half of each tag
right,
team that they did have.
Yeah, exactly.
exactly. So, I don't really hold that standard to the women as much. And I think this has been great for Charlotte. I think you guys make a good point. I think you might be underestimating the impact of that article she wrote that kind of got people to see, the people who read it got a chance to finally hear Ashley, or got to finally get to hear the person behind who Charlotte is being, because I talked about it in the past. Charlotte has always only been Charlotte. She's always only been chasing championships. She's always only been egotistical, the queen. She's never got a chance to actually do what she's doing now, which is showing personality, trying to be relatable. And I think it's awkward by design because that's the whole point of the We're Not Friends. Like they're obviously working together, they're obviously growing closer every time they win. But the whole point of it is we're not used to having friends. We're not good. We're not good with people. That's the whole thing that Alexa and Charlotte is supposed to have in common. So I get it. I like it. I think Raquel. I don't think Raquel and Roxanne will have to worry. I do believe they will get the belts back because of just how strong of a team they are and how much sense it makes. I don't know when, but I wouldn't be surprised if they get it back. But I do think for the moment and for the time of SummerSlam and how over they are, because you got to think about it, James. You remember right before WrestleMania in Chicago and just how much people seem to detest Charlotte being back.
Mm.
The fact that we're already where we are now and the live crowds months later love Charlotte at this point, you got to give them some props. Like I think leaning
Yeah.
into it, and pretty much every interview she's done since that stuff with Tiffany, she has literally opened up and tried to, like she said, she wants this next character. If she do a character switch, she wanted to be more of a person and not what she's always been. And I think that's been helpful for her. And I think people are really getting behind it. So I think it's kind of cool because even if it sometimes it may take a long time to get that switch, but think about it. Everybody else in the horsewomen have had major character switches. Charlotte was the only one who was still doing the same thing she had been doing in 2015. So
Mm.
I think this little change in personality has been great for her, and it has a chance to really revitalize her on this next stage of the run. And I think her and Alexa have pretty good chemistry, and I think it's awkward by design. But yeah, I think this is really good. This is all fine. I didn't really care for like the whole forced tension because Charlotte like winning. It wouldn't have made sense if Charlotte was gonna hit Alexa for hitting her. Charlotte is a winner, so I knew she was not gonna turn on her. So that kind of was flat on me, but I understood why they tried to do it. I
Yeah.
thought it
And
was fun.
speaking of winning, though, Charlotte and Bliss are kind of missed SummerSlam as well with the amount of victories they have
Right.
at that
They both
event.
win.
And
Exactly.
I should say as well, the themes are awful. Apart from Charlotte, they don't have mashups anymore, do they? For like tag teams or stuff like that, which
They don't. They
is
don't.
just a shame. So out of five, then Gina, what would you score this out of five?
I enjoyed the match. I'll give it a 4.
Jaxie?
Yeah, I gave this a 4 too.
Yeah, and Monty.
Yeah, therefore.
Yeah, all fours round. Predictions all went Charlotte and Bliss are all on 2. We've got Karrion Cross versus Sami Zayn next. And once the bell rang, Zayn tried the corner cross for some shoulder thrust, but Hill immediately fought back. First few minutes were competitive, but definitely had Zayn in control more of the time. Cross used a burning hammer to get the upper hand. Zayn avoided an attack with a steel pipe by hitting a blue thunderbomb for a 2 count. He picked up the pipe, and Scarlett was actually encouraging him to embrace his dark side and use it, but he tossed it out of the ring and still managed to get the fucking win anyway. I say surprising outcome, just a fucking annoying one. Zayn won with a haluva kick. I'm over it. I'm over it. Jaxie, I mean, come on, man. What is this?
Oh God. Fuck you, Hunter.
Uh,
Um, do you know what? I'm just as baffled as pretty much Mr. The Crack. Don't get me wrong. This is not anything to do with Sami Zayn, but I just, if we're talking just in the moment at this point when this match is happening, yeah, we're not talking about what else has gone down outside of SummerSlam. Like, what are you doing with Karrion Cross? What the fuck is like? Every single match he's been in, even if it's actually been hyped up with like, a big name, and still he can't get like even one win, it makes like his character look completely redundant. I just feel like creatives have really done him dirty. This whole run has been non-existent. It's like he's got a curse when it comes to working with WWE that like, just they'll do anything and everything they can to just sort of make him an irrelevant character even when the fans are cheering and calling his name. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. I guess this match again, no means in offense but to Sammy in this match at all, but like this match to me just felt completely redundant, especially with what took place like a week later. But it's just, in terms of a match itself, what was the point of this being on the match card?
yeah.
Like there was no like end result that came from this that actually left you wondering, right, okay, what's next? Do you know what I mean? Like I don't even understand why this was even on the match card at this point.
Yeah. I mean, it felt like Cross was due after losing their previous count. Look, I know Cross's
Yeah.
contract is coming up, and Paul Heyman was asked about the Cross, and he went, "Well, if Karrion was Intercontinental champion, it wouldn't work, would it? But again, it doesn't work if you keep losing all the time, So
Yeah,
again, I
it
don't.
really
They just
doesn't. And
ignores the action.
also at this point, Paul Heyman, I'd like to argue that case and say, well, give him a fucking shot at the championship because he hasn't been in like a running for a championship belt and just like even getting in non-title feuds and still losing that. So what else is he meant to do at this point?
Yeah, yeah. This is the
So
thing, yeah.
I
And
just I felt lost ultimately at the end of that match, and it wasn't anything to do with the caliber of the match, but I just felt completely lost as to what they're doing and what they're throwing away with such a talent with Karrion Cross.
Yeah, well, I know I love Sammy, but I do feel like
Yeah,
he's.
me too, me too.
I
So
feel
this
he's a
really
bit like Triple H's boy, though, when maybe others could have, had the time. Like, I mean, Monty, you spoke about like Carmelo or someone like LA Knight or the entire NXT UK roster, but instead it just seems the same guy. And that's not a shot at Sammy, but I'm getting a little bit bored of it.
Yeah, and I think that's the worst part. I think the worst part is people's frustration with the way he's treating other talent is making Sammy look bad because you're not the only one who criticized Sammy. They call him Sammy Hogan. And Sammy is still literally still the underdog. He's just beating people. In my opinion, he's supposed to be. If you look at Sammy as a guy who's on the cusp of a world championship, this makes sense. I'm not the one to really talk to about Cross because I'm the only one here who tried to tell y'all that it's not. I don't get why other than the internet stuff and all the lore that he's built up about himself, I don't understand the obsession with Cross. Cross is the only person to be in this position with Sammy and have given me two boring matches with Sami Zayn. AJ Styles match boring for the most part. If you're not talking about the narrative stuff, he's great for storytelling, but as far as interesting in the ring to me, he's not that. And I'm not trying to say WWE is right for treating him that way because of that, because there's plenty of people who are not the greatest in the ring, and they still give them, time investment. and give them a chance to build stuff. So I get it. I'm not trying to say I don't understand why so many fans were bummed out, but this match wasn't bad because Cross lost. If you think you would have liked this match better because Cross would have won at the end, then I don't know what the hell you're talking about. I think it was 7 minutes of them just trying Sammy and him rushing to get their stuff in, and they didn't get a chance to tell. I don't know how you supposed to tell the little dramatic story they were trying to tell in 7 minutes anyway. So that should tell you right there what they think of Cross. They didn't even want to have him in the ring in 10 minutes with Sami Zayn. And James, you know this. You say you love Sammy. Sammy is a worker. At the end of the day, you give him a good worker, you give him Gunther, you give him Sheamus 10, 15 minutes, he's going to make them people care. The people didn't really care, even with all of the we want Cross chants and all of that. So at the end of the day, in my opinion, is definitely on Triple H, and you definitely would like him to invest more into a guy like Cross, who obviously cares and obviously put time in and put effort into who he is. But at the same time, I can understand the perspective of he's just not that guy from their point of view, and obviously that's how they feel. Now, I just hate the fact that.
I do want to add to what you're saying, Monty, because I actually agree from that point of view as well. But I also don't feel like what promo time he is being given like backstage
Right.
is like they're not equating to what he's producing in the ring. It's almost like he's
Hmm.
talking the talk, but then in the ring, like he's not given enough time to actually show what he's trying to portray, almost.
Right. And I think that's on Triple H. Like I said, all
Yeah,
the popping up backstage with the New Day and all the stuff we know he's been doing for months now, you would like
yeah,
that to have an end goal. That's on Triple
exactly.
H and them, the fact that they don't have an end goal for any of that stuff. So I get why fans would be frustrated because he's been doing great promo work, doing great world building. But WWE has not invested in any of that if you go into the
It just
actual
felt
stuff that
like
they're
this was
doing.
pointless to put on the match card overall then, you know?
Oh yeah, true, 100%. I was joking with James on the party, like what we fighting over after the match. I gotta tell you, you was right. Like it's a dumbass stipulation anyway. Like it was pointless. So like I wasn't that invested to begin with, but I know Sami Zayn usually can always make me gravitate. So the fact that you can look at a match and be like, I don't like that. That's also a nail in the coffin because Sammy has the reputation of getting good matches out of anybody he works with. So again, I'm not the one to really say much about it because I understand Cross's allure, but at the same time, I'm not the biggest fan of his work.
Right.
But at the same, so
Mm.
I'm kind of iffy on it. But this match was what it was. It wasn't the most interesting match, and then I thought the ending. I did predict that this was how it would go because again, Sammy's the babyface. He's not going to lose this match and tell Cross he's wrong. Where the hell? What the hell does that mean? Oh yeah, Cross. All right, you were right. What does that do for anybody? But I also agree that Cross losing. What does that do for anybody? So at the end of the day, it was just a lose lose anyway, if you ask me. So I just hate the fact that Sammy is getting criticism for it because I don't think it's Sammy's fault. Sammy's just doing what Triple H tell him.
Yeah, but again, it's him in that position that, like I said, I'm just getting a bit bored of him at this moment in time. Even like I said, Sammy's a great worker, but I think it brings up a more interesting question. And Gina, I'll speak to you about this as well because this is the thing. It's character or wrestler. You know, can you be the best wrestler in the world, but if you haven't got character, can that work? And I think not everybody. You know, if you look at Karrion Cross, look at Bray Wyatt. You know, basically got the same moveset. I mean, not everyone can wrestle like Jacob for two, and I think that character, if you care about it, can work. I mean, look at The Undertaker, for fuck's sake. That was basically a character built from that.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, you could say that even about John Cena, the fact that loads of people would chant, "You can't wrestle" at him, but he was that good on the mic that he was still over whether the crowd thought he could wrestle or not. So we all know like there are guys who are better at, just mic work and building storylines and tensions, and guys that who are just better at wrestling than they are on mic. And sometimes you've got those who are both. It does suck. I agree with both points that Monty and Jaxie made about this situation. In my eyes, the correct decision would have been for Cross to get the win here, to back everything that he's been saying in his promos, online, backstage, on normal shows as well. He should have got the win here, and that maybe would have put a seed of doubt in fans thinking, "Oh shit, is Sammy now gonna join Cross sort of thing?" And I know it may have kept the storyline going, but maybe that would have helped at least solidify what Cross has been trying to do with his character. I don't think in any way Sammy is to blame. I think he, like you said, he's good at putting people over. Whoever he's in a match with, people care about because they just don't want Sami Zayn to lose to him, you know? So that's why it would have made more sense for you guys to let him lose this one. It wouldn't have damaged Sammy in any way. He still would have been over the following week on Raw, you know? I don't think it would have hurt him to take the L here and just put crossover. But then again, it's making me think, well, they did release Cross a little bit after this, so maybe they were like, now we don't care to give him the win because of that sort of thing. You know, I have no idea what they were thinking here, but it is truly frustrating. It's especially when we get more into the show, we'll talk about other stuff that happened, and some of it does kind of come back to this. So yeah, I'll park it here for now because I'll make some more comments later on. But I do find that this match basically should have been a Raw match, not a SummerSlam match.
Yeah. Right. So scores out of 5. Then Jaxie, what would you give it?
Like again, this wasn't bad. It just like it was just a bit of an odd match to be here. So I'm gonna still give it a 3.5.
3.5. Monty
I give it 3.
and Gina.
Yeah, I'll give it 3.5.
Yeah, I'll go 3.5 as well. Predictions, we all went cross apart from Monty. So Monty's on 3, the rest on 2. But don't worry, to cheer us up next, we've got a Hulk Hogan tribute. Nick Hogan was there. And then the WWE Women's Championship was on the line as Jade Cargill challenged Tiffany Stratton. And the challenger took the fight out of the ring and hit a suplex on the floor. But she went back to get in the ring. Stratton attacked and hit a suicide dive. Cargill hooked Jaded, but Stratton was too close to the ropes for her to get the pin. She stayed on the champion and set up for Jaded from the middle turnbuckle, but the champion countered out of it and hit the prettiest moonsault ever for the win and another shock to my system. Monty, what were your thoughts on this?
This is good. I mean, when you at the time when I was watching it, I thought they were going so fast. I was like, wow, man, they really going for it. And then when you realize that this only went like 8 minutes, and it's like, wow. And we'll talk about why in a second, or partially why, but a big reason why, in my opinion, is coming up. But yeah, man, I couldn't believe that the women's world title was defended in 8 minutes like that. And I'm like you. I didn't think she was going. I didn't think Jay would lose. I'm one of those people who have realized that, in my opinion, we have come to a point with Tiffany where, not by any fault of her own, it's just at this point, I don't know what the hell they're doing with the SmackDown women's roster, and as far as building contenders. Like, if it's not Jade, then who is it? And I think that's kind of my issue with her losing here. Not that Tiffany didn't earn it, because again, I thought the way they decided to do it, the creative finish, was pretty cool. And I thought they had a really good match, but that's my point. To have a match that I thought was flowing this well, that fast, is really, really shocking to me. But, again, I'm impressed with Tiffany here, but at the same time, everything I gotta say that's a flaw about this doesn't really have anything to do with her as much as it got to do. Because I think, all, like you mentioned coming into this, James, her reign as far as matches go, she's been doing excellent in all her major defenses. But it's like, the talent that she has to really fight, that you truly believe can beat her for the championship right now. They haven't done a good job of building any of them up, or making us believe in anybody. So I thought this was the time to give us something new, and but it wasn't meant to be. But I thought they did well. I'm not going to complain about it. It's just, again, I thought it was a little short. I thought they definitely could have made it way more dramatic, but they did a really good job with what they were given, and that's kind of how I look at it.
Yeah, I think that you need to mention Tiffany has had a great run, but who is going to take it off her now? Probably Nia Jax. But again,
Please.
it's just, I don't know what's more frustration. What's more frustrated, Gina, with the fact of Cargill losing, which again, Monty made, it kind of works, but just how short it actually was as well. Like, even talking about the match was only kind of like a paragraph compared to like even the opener.
Definitely. This match did disappoint me. I really don't understand what creative are thinking in terms of, don't get me wrong, again, I'm not trying to say Tiffany needs to lose her belt. That's not the point I'm trying to make here, but for what they've built up with Jade, for stealing, kind of like, you not stealing, but Naomi going off and stealing like the belt on and becoming a Raw champ, they really needed Jade to have some sort of storyline and direction to focus on that wasn't, going to be revolved around Naomi and Bianca, because that's all that Jade has had since joining WWE. It's always been revolved around those two other women as well. So them putting her in this match against Tiffany and building up what they did build towards this match, it would have made more sense for her to have gotten this win. I mean, Christ, if he did, Triple H would have surprised me and thinking he's got two black female champions. What's going on here? But that was clearly expecting too much, But it is shocking because it's not like Jade lost out of some tomfoolery either that kind of protected her a bit. She lost cleanly to Tiffany,
Right.
when it's like,
Yeah.
okay, so what do you do with Jade from here? Because to be honest, it feels like she's been knocked off of her peg. Like, even though she won some of the matches against Naomi, in terms of like, mic work, I think Naomi always rinsed Jade in that front, and now she's losing cleanly to Tiffany. I don't really look at Jade like she's the baddest woman in the company anymore. And again, with Tiffany, who are you going to build up now to take the belt from her? And yeah, okay, Nia's come back and looking for vengeance, but really, you're going to do this again? Like, the only one who can take Tiffany out is the one that she took the belt from in the first place. Like, it's, yeah, I don't know. It didn't work for me. And again, with the shortness of the match, it just didn't feel like creative gave two shits about this match. So why should I give two shits about this match or either competitor? I was a little frustrated for both women because I know they can both put on great matches, but this wasn't it for me. It wasn't a SummerSlam worthy match either. And yeah, I just think I I just don't know what they're going to do with both parties going from here and where their storylines are going to lead them both.
Mm. Well, this is the thing. I'm surprised Tiffany Stratton is as over as she is with the success she has had. But maybe, again, it's a fresher character than like a Charlotte. But I think Jaxie, and I don't know if you agree with me here, with Jay Cargill, to get her kind of, if they want to get her over with the crowd, so to speak, it's not to make her be a loser. Because as Gina said, she shouldn't be losing. She is a god. It's that switching character that you just don't want to do at this moment in time.
Exactly. I mean, again, I'm not going to try and repeat a lot of what both Monty and my sisters pointed out already, but like, just kind of taking you back real quick. Beforehand, let's remember at this point, Naomi is a champion at this point, so Jade is just waiting for that belt as well, a belt herself. She's just won Queen of the Ring. Do not forget that before all of this, she had this massive ongoing feud with Naomi where she was constantly dominating and on top. And even when Naomi was chatting her shit in the ring, Jade's music would hit and everyone would know, oh shit is about to go down. You've completely ruined that all in one go. And exactly the one point I do want to reiterate is that you had her win like pinned clean. Like, there is, I don't really know how you're meant to rebuild or repackage what you already actually had at the Pinnacle because of what they built in the feud with Naomi and Jade. What they should have done is have both belts on those women, because at that point they were both at their height. And we'll talk about this going forward as well, about recent changes shortly after SummerSlam and stuff. But at this moment in time, going into this match, with taking sort of Tiffany and what she can do in the ring and with the crowd out of the picture, ultimately Jade should have won this match, like, to prove her point to Naomi. I'm just as good as you, blah blah blah, this sort of thing. So like, I just think that this was just a baffling loss, not because she lost, but the way she lost so clean, and in the lack of time as well that we're pointing out. It really didn't feel like they were given even enough, like, enough respectful time as a women's championship match, especially given the length of time that were given to both male title matches. So ultimately, I think this was disappointing on the caliber of creative and decisions made going into this match, not the wrestling talent themselves, you know?
Yeah, without a doubt. So scores out of 5 then. Monty, what would you give it?
I give it 3.5, 3 3/4. 'Cause I thought they did well, but yeah, man, I think everything we just discussed is spot on. So yeah, I give it 3 3/4. 'Cause I thought they did the best you could possibly do with 7 minutes, man.
Yeah. Gina?
Yeah, I'll give it 3 3/4 too. I like both Tiffany and Jade, and as Jaxie just pointed out as well, without thinking of what's currently happening, you could have possibly had both Jade and Naomi with the belts going into Survivor Series towards the end of the year, and then seeing potentially, them two having another fight with each other. It could have led to so much more stuff. So it's a bit disappointing, but the ladies gave all they could for the time they had.
Yeah, that's why I wanted the crown jewel, didn't they? Champion versus champion. No, it would have made perfect sense. But, Jaxie, what would you give this?
Yeah, I didn't really like it. I'm gonna give this a 3. And it's not because of the women, but I think all the other factors going into this match, it just wasn't given any respect or time to it. So
Yeah, predictions. We went Jade, so it means Monty on 3, the rest on 2. And up next, oh, Jesus Christ, Jelly Roll and Randy Orton versus Logan Paul and Drew McIntyre. Jenny sang Randy out. I mean, I might have a better voice than him. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I think I could do a better job. Paul took a cheap shot at the singer before the bell, so he tagged himself in right away so he could face the YouTuber first. JR surprised Paul and took him down, so McIntyre tagged in to take over. Orton wanted to tag, but Jenny wanted to test himself. The Scot took a few shots before he knocked the magician down with a headbutt. This led to a few minutes of the Hills punishing JR and keeping him away from Orton. McIntyre put Jelly on the announce table and Paul dove off the top rope to put him through it. And this was a spot that was kind of the entire match was planned around. The Viper spent a lot of time in defense as the officials were tending to his teammate. But in the end, Paul hit a splash on Jelly Roll for the win. That's it. So, Gina, what were your thoughts on this?
Oh, I was hoping you weren't going to come to me
I'm
first with that.
sorry. It's just the order. I
I'm not
apologize.
gonna lie, I didn't care for this match at all. I really didn't. I just couldn't get behind um Jelly Rolls and Randy Orton having to just not job, but yeah, kind of just job out to like be with this hometown favorite or whatever. Obviously, I don't know who Jelly Roll is, so I really could care less. For me, it's like, Snooki being in a match from Jersey Shore. I just, yeah, it's not for me. I'm not one to really like the celeb crossovers. I wouldn't exactly include Logan Paul in that per se because he's obviously put in the work to actually become a full-time wrestler. But
Yeah.
like these little guest appearance ones, I'm not always a big fan of. So yeah, don't get me wrong. I was happy for the crowd because they were happy. They must have known Jelly Roll and really liked him. So I was happy that they were happy with it. But I personally couldn't care. And it's the only time I'm gonna say this, but it's actually the only time I think I was on Drew and Logan's side here. Just like get the win, guys, and go. I don't know why I didn't go with the heel team. I think I just thought, everyone loves Jelly Roll. They're not going to let him lose. But that was me just being assumptuous, I guess. But yeah, either way, I didn't really care.
yeah, but they did
Look,
win. The good team did win. The Heels
No,
lost.
no, they didn't. I swear the heels won.
yeah, the Hills one. Paul got the win.
Yeah,
Oh,
Logan got the
oh,
pin.
Yeah, and,
Yeah.
and apparently they tried to make it like Jenny was saying to Cody afterwards, like he wanted to lose, and I was like, I'm still not going to respect you. I'm still. That doesn't matter.
Yeah, it still gets no respect from me. Just please don't come back and do another feud. That's all I'm gonna ask from Jelly Roll after
I
this.
He's
know.
definitely coming back.
But again, I mean, Jackson, he had to hand out signs to the fans, so it doesn't. You know what I mean? So I'm not sure if everybody is into it, but I mean, it was the easiest night of work for Drew, But again, it's just I don't know,
I'm,
man.
I'm
Like,
pretty I'm pretty shocked we didn't get like another sort of selfie from Drew to be like, just another like casual Sunday or something.
just Drew, man, Drew, and Orton
Um,
faced Joe. Sorry, go on.
No, I was just going to agree with you. I just feel like this match was just one of those things that just I also could have done with not having on the match card.
Even I was, I think everybody realizes how much I love Drew McIntyre, but I did not care for this. Randy Orton faced Joe Hendry at the last Big Four event, and now he's teaming with the Gel Star. Orton makes history for most SummerSlam matches, but Monty, as pointed out, I'm sure there were people going, "Hey, look, it's Jelly Star," whatever they were going, and really enjoying it.
I don't know why y'all doing this to me. Like, why y'all painting me as the American who actually got a kick out of this match? I didn't think it was
No.
great. It was just, I thought it was a great change of formula to how they usually do these celebrity matches. And the reason why I say that is because they didn't put Jelly Roll over much. Like that's what like. Usually when you watch these celebrity matches, the you watch a guy have to sell for somebody who don't know what they're doing. But like for example, Drew, I think Drew took one bump in the entire match, and it
Yeah.
wasn't the Jelly Roll. If you see what I'm trying to say, so I appreciated that. I appreciate the fact that it was like acknowledged that he was getting too big for his britches. He didn't know what he was doing. I like that element of it, and I'm not a fan of Jelly Roll per se, but I do know he's not from Jersey, by the way. As a matter of fact, Snooki would have been way more at home in where they were than where Jelly Roll is from. So he was only there because he's popular for some reason. People like his music. I don't know why they like it, but they like it. The point is, uh, he did a good job in my opinion. Because that table spot, like I don't know how many celebrities would agree to take that bump. I don't know how many celebrities. You're 100% right, John. I know you don't. I'm not saying I respect him for it, but just saying no, I want to lose because WWE came with the finish that we expected to happen, which was WWE told him, no, I want you to win, and he told me, no, I think I should lose. I say whatever you want. That is the most aware shit I've ever heard from a celebrity who got in wrestling for the most part. Because realistically, all these celebrities are supposed to lose. So, again, I'm not gonna say I liked it. My biggest complaint ain't got nothing to do with anybody who worked this match or anything. My biggest complaint was it was more time combined than what we got for Cross and what we got from Jade. So
Yeah,
Jade and
it was long.
Tiffany. That's the problem. I know like I said, they told that big dramatic story, but they got in combined more time than both of those. Those two matches that I just brought up got 15 minutes or something. This match by itself was 17, 18 minutes. So, in my
Are you
opinion, the
mad?
fact that,
It got longer
no,
than the
serious.
women's title match. Oh,
Exactly. The
fuck off.
celebrity gimmick match
Oh
is longer
yeah.
than the women's championship match. So
Oh,
that's
The
my
entrance,
biggest
the
complaint.
entrances are probably longer than the women's match in this matchup.
Exactly. Exactly. So yeah, so I was mostly annoyed at that. Like I understand Randy is a legend. We know what Drew where he deserves placement on the card, and I know what Logan and Jelly Roll for that matter does for clicks. But this comes back to what we talked about, James. WWE has not hidden the fact, and this is one of those things that are still slowly pushing me away from them as a fan. Is that they care way more about viral moments and getting clicks and saying, "Oh, this guy is here, this person is here." People who I know don't give a damn about wrestling, not Jelly Roll per se, but yeah, people I know don't give a damn about wrestling is in the front row of these high ticket shows because that's what they care about now. They care about going viral. They care about these other people's fan bases. They don't care about the people who watch weekly and do the stuff that we do as much. And they're making it obvious. And stuff like this is, in my opinion, showcases that because whether you think Tiffany is great or whether you love Jade, whether you like Cross, like I said, or you think Sammy, the stipulation was stupid, they work week after week. They do live events. They deserve more time put into their stuff than this celebrity gimmick shit. And that's just the way I feel about it. But
No.
I thought they did. I thought it was solid overall. But I hated that element of it because again, it's just pushing it right back in your face that that's more important than whatever you watch on a weekly basis. We will drop it all, drop any up and coming. Like I said, Mello, any of these guys who could be getting to people pay per view time or TV time. Let's drop them off so we can rush this angle, put a celebrity in because that's gonna go viral. I hate it.
Exactly. And have the match sponsored as well. Yeah, you're bang on there with it.
Exactly.
So, scores out of 5. Then, Gina, what would you give this?
Um, 3.
Yeah, fair enough. Jaxie?
Mm. Um, I'm giving this a 2 3/4. I really didn't care about this match at all.
Monty?
3.5. My drunk ass love that frog splash through the table.
Fuck me. It must be the Drew. I've ranked it 3 3/4. It must be the McIntyre effect because I didn't enjoy the matchup. Predictions. We all went jelly, so Monty's on 3 and the rest are on 2. And the main event of night one of SummerSlam saw CM Punk challenge Gunter for the World Heavyweight Championship. The straight edge superstar was a heavy crowd favourite as CM Punk chants echoed around the stadium for the even locked up. And when they finally did, the ring general showed off his power by backing Punk to the corner. Once Gunter started dishing out trademark chops, he was in firm control. Punk was bleeding from the chest. So much damage from the ring general. It felt like every time the straight superstar built some momentum, the champ would put him right back on the mat. A rare mistake from Gunter allowed Punk to trip him on the announce table and take control. Gunter was a bloody mess. They said he broke his nose, but he sold it well enough. And after hitting the GTS twice in a row, CM Punk pinned Gunter to win the World Heavyweight Championship. The crowd watched as he got emotional when the ref handed him the belt. What a moment after a decade waiting. But that wasn't it. Seth Rollins came out on crutches to issue a warning to Punk to enjoy it while he could, but then he Willy Wonkered us. He revealed he did not actually need the crutches, took off the knee brace, and the visionary ran to the ring and began fighting CM Punk. He hit him several times with a briefcase. You see CM Punk trying to get out of the way of it as well, for hitting the stomp to pin him and become the world champion. Unbelievable stuff. Jaxie, what were your thoughts?
I told you so. I told you so. So let's go back to SummerSlam party. What did I actually say at the end of this prediction? I called it. I said
You
that.
said it's not a prediction, but he might cash in. I was like, yeah, that's a great
No,
idea. I agree
no,
with you.
I did say I don't. I think that Seth is faking it. I think that he definitely is just waiting for that moment to royally screw CM Punk again, and it happened. This was probably like Seth's going to go down in history as to having two of the best cash-ins ever to happen, like the most shocking but best cash-ins. You know, first against Brock and Roman, and now this one. It was just too good to be true, you know, to like finally have CM Punk have that win. He wasn't gonna let him have that. He was not gonna let him have that. It was just I think it was brilliant storytelling, and I could not help. I was laughing by the end of night one.
Yeah.
I
No,
swear.
credit where credit is due.
Mm.
Monty, as for the matchup itself, though, I mean, the cash in, like Jaxie, you made an excellent point there with Seth Rollins and everything that he did. But I did appreciate CM Punk versus Gunter because CM Punk did take a pasting, you know?
Yeah, I think that was probably my favorite element of it is that he got his ass whooped for most of the match, and I think it was just a really great showcase. Like I saw some people talk about how slow it is, and to me, it just kind of told a better story. I understand we love the Ospreys, we love that high impact style, but what Gunther and Punk just did and the way they did it, was so real. It felt like a fight. And I think that's what I like the most about it. And honestly, it was so brutal there. I just love that we're consistent about Gunther being tough, but kind of a bitch. And the reason why I say that is, he saw his blood and the whole match change. And it's kind of similar to the fact that his biggest weakness is his own choke. Like he's tough, but yeah, if you cut him, you got a chance against Gunther because he can't believe he got cut. I can't believe I'm bleeding. That was basically his reaction, which I get it because he's that cocky and it works. So I love that fact because it's also another time where you can look at this match and be like, see, if Punk didn't get busting open, would Punk even survive that match? And that's still a great thing that still keeps him strong. But yeah, I think overall we're like, yeah, Gunther, he's a bad guy, but he got some weaknesses. But this was great, man. I love that element. I love Punk's moment and Seth doing what he did. I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. Uh, I just think about Zack Sabre Jr. and how wrestlers are stupid. I'm sorry. I don't care on babyface. I don't care about pride. Run, Phil. Run. Don't as soon as forget the crutches, forget all of that. But I got it. Somebody had a great explanation. It was like he hates self so much that he stayed there and tried to fight him off. That's stupid. Very stupid. But I get it. I get it. I get that logic. It's still stupid. Run and you keep your belt. Because you know who the first person I saw actually do that? Run from a cash in? It was CM Punk. Money in the Bank. You remember that, James? He was about to get cashed in on after he beat Cena. He ran. So I really wish he would have did that to self, and that would have made the CM Punk fan in me love this even more. But I can't be mad. A lot of self fans was getting on us Punk fans. They was getting on us hard, and that's fine. I get it. Your guy did it again. Whoop de woo. You want to talk about the funny thing about it? You talk about Sammy James. He ain't got nothing on self. Like you say, you tired of Sammy. What about self booking with Triple H? But anyways, we'll move on.
Oh no,
But
I
anyway,
agree. I agree. You know, but as we talked Punk, Baby Blue for Punk, and the match had a great story. Punk proved he's not as injury prone as
right.
before. Gunter power bombs are a bit off, and not just this match. Think of Jey Uso and Randy Orton as well. But like you said, Gunther seeing his own blood was good, and Gina again, as we've spoken about, you know, with the cash in, and but the match with the callbacks as well. You know, Gunther on the announce table, much like Drew McIntyre was at WrestleMania, before Punk took him down, but you know, before the cashing actually happened as well. So all in all, it was a great story, and you know, one of my favorite finishes to a SummerSlam. You know, just really exciting to see what was going to happen next.
Definitely, especially from how, in my personal opinion, I do feel like the match card has been lackluster a little bit, and some of the matches didn't really feel like they should have been on this match card. To end it with this was great. I thought it was awesome for those who didn't n- think that, Seth was injured, was healed, or faking. They actually believed he was injured. I'm sure that was a great moment for them to have that holy shit moment when he dropped, the crutches like a Willy Wonka. I I can just I can imagine that this will definitely carry on in terms of storyline wise. It's even when Gunther comes back from injury, if that's happened to him, because I know he took a bad injury to the nose, so maybe he's got a nose injury of some sort. But even when he comes back, he's got scope to kind of continue a feud between both of these guys. And for both Punk and Seth, they've got lots there to work on amongst themselves still, so it's been great storytelling, great tension building, and to end night one of SummerSlam on this, I thought was probably the best thing that they could have done, especially with the match card they had.
Yeah, without a doubt. And I mean, credit to Triple H as well. I think he used the Money in the Bank well, because obviously back to back PLEs and back to back cash ins, but still a good way of using them. And also, can I mention the elephant in the room? The Shield stranglehold does continue. It was 21 days after Moxley dropped the AEW Championship that Seth Rollins won a world title. Go back. You know, this started, I think, as we all started, the podcast 5 years ago as well. So just check that out. That's crazy. Anyway, so scores for this one. Jackson, what would you give the main event?
Uh, I'll give this. I'll give this a 4 3/4. I thought it was really good.
4 3/4. Monty?
Yeah, that's a good score. 4 3/4.
Gina?
Yeah, same 4 3/4.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 5. I thought it was really, really good. Predictions. Gina went for Gunter. The rest picked Punk. So the final scores, Gina on 2, James and Jaxie on 3. So Monty wins night 1 with 4 points. Yay, Monty. Everybody loves it. So he goes to 7 now with Jaxie on 5, Gina on 4. I'm on 3. That is terrible. Overall even, sorry. Right, we do rating, match of the night and stuff like this as well. Jaxie, you can start us off here. What would you rate night 1? Who's your MVP?
Is rating night 1 out of 10.
Yeah, go on.
I'll give this an 8.5. MVP. I'm gonna give it to Seth. for the cash in. I'm gonna give that. And obviously I think my match is the night is the main event.
Yeah. Monty, what about you?
I'll give it like a 7.5. Chicago made Punk is the MVP. Because again, him crying with the world title, the Punk fan in me will never forget it. I don't care. Like I said, I told you he don't even got to win the belt ever again. That was my moment right there. Even if what happened after. Uh, so yeah. What's next? That's it. Oh, match is not. Yeah, main event.
Yeah. Gina?
Yeah, main event is my match of the night. MVP. Yeah, I'm gonna give it to Punk as well. You know, even though he lost the belt right away, that was a quite, a touching moment just seeing him cry with the belt in his arms. And overall score, yeah, I wasn't blown away by night one, I'm not gonna lie. The main match was the only one that did it for me, so I'll give it a 7.
Yeah. Well, overall, I mean, you paid all that money for 6 matches, 2 of which didn't even go 10 minutes. But you got an earlier start time because of UFC. I didn't think there was enough special entrances or fireworks even. This event felt like it had a night too, but I'll still give it an 8.5. Match was main event. The MVP I'm going to give for Alexa Bliss because if she can get Charlotte over to face, she deserves the MVP award. Post-show, we pick it up with Seth swinging the championship. And at the moment, Bron Breakker had heavy bandages on, strapping on his legs. And the way he looked at Seth and that world title seemed a bit annoyed. And maybe injury might ruin what's next for him. Maybe it doesn't, But I thought that might be an interesting moment. We see Punk hugging a fan as he makes his way to the back. What a guy. Joe Test, Big E, and Peter Roberts. We got no press conference anymore. That's weird. Speaking of which, Jey Uso joined a panel. I mean, Monty, is he always under the influence? Or do you know what I mean? Is it part of his kind of contract that he has to be kind of blasted to do like press conferences?
They made him stay all the way from the first match. Like what the hell you expect? Like he was like that when he had a main event. So like when he had the first match, he got nothing but time to do what he got to do. So I don't know if he's always like that, but I do find it annoying. I'm gonna say this. I'm glad you teed me up for this. I just want to let you fans know these are adults. If he wants to drink an adult beverage or whatever he chooses to do, especially as a matter of fact, it's legal in Jersey. So if he wanted to do some cabbage, so to speak, he can choose to do it. He is an adult. I saw people making comments about Jay always being that way, as if he's not a responsible adult. He's not driving anymore that I know of in this situation. He hasn't gotten in trouble for that type of stuff in a long time. So leave that man alone. Let him do what he want to do. That's my opinion on it. But
Yeah.
anyway,
Well,
he can celebrate his good night of work any way he wants to. And they're kind of playing into it because, like you said, WWE seem to like it that way.
Well, like you said, but again, even in his state, if people say it, he says he's still humble and ready to rumble. So he gives a better
Right.
promo than most people on the roster.
Exactly.
McIntyre had a few words. He congratulated Seth and said karma is a bitch. It looks like the Logan thing will continue as he said he needs someone to watch his back. But why him?
Why him?
Why him? It's like I mean, Gina, you could attest to this. It's like a sister who's got a boyfriend you just don't like and you have to deal with.
Yeah,
Why
and
him?
it's no matter how many times you've actually stressed, I do not like this person. They're like, oh, why don't you sit next to so and so today? Like, really? Stop
Yeah.
forcing it on me. Yeah.
Oh, God, it's awful. It is awful. Bliss and Charlotte joined the panels. We got a friends chant and a hug it out. Charlotte was shocked with the "You deserve it" chant, and I tell you what, I was as well. These fans are fucked up. Paul Heyman arrived. Soon followed by the world champ and a bronze just to parade around. And then Triple H arrived. He asked for silence and then brought out Jelly Roll. We got Thank You Hunter chants, which made me feel a bit sick. Jay Tizzle earned his spot, apparently. And the new format is when Triple H speaks to the people. Sycophants. There was We Want Cross chants, but he didn't care. And Jaxie, again, it's turning me off a little bit. With like Triple H, oh, how great is Triple H? And he's going, yeah, this is what I want to speak. It's like, fuck you. You're just taking the fucking money now,
Yeah, I mean, like, I think you've just got to, at this point, realize that Hunter's probably started out with like really kind of listening to like what the crowd want or which direction to take certain wrestlers, and also started out with giving people really decent shots and chances, especially when they're, you know, sort of from the younger division. But at this point, having fully taken over, I think it's all just corporate stuff now. You know, this is all just like exactly what you guys were pointing out about, you know, how many influencers can we get in the front seats? You know, how many advertisements can we get backing us and, you know, promoting us and this, that, and the other. So it's a sad moment when like kind of you just hear the business side from Hunter at this point, because you just kind of feel like I don't really know what is in store for the future of this division, you know?
Yeah. I completely agree with you. So we go SummerSlam countdown August 3rd, the same group as before, but added highlights of night one. We got wrestlers lookalikes. Macho was awful. He couldn't even do the, oh, yeah, dig it. I mean, it's easy, just more bass. Seth was excellent, though. I will say that. That was probably, you know, my fun for 3 hours. We got to sit down with Becky, Megan Ruin, Dom's Day. They showed Dom showing up in AAA with a monster pop, and we covered Triple Mania on our last update. Tigari Gold sang "God Bless America." Main show, Triple H arrives. Do we need this? We get it. You're a genius, all right? Rhea Ripley got a huge pop, and she made her way to the ring for the first match of the night, the WWE Women's Championship, which was, of course, Io Sky versus Naomi versus Ripley. Io, to her credit, got an equally strong reaction, and then a cool guitar intro for Naomi made it even more special because it was with her dad, you know. And Jaxie, sometimes in wrestling, things just work out, you know. And what a moment this was for Naomi, you know, must be special.
Exactly. I mean, I just, you know, couldn't help but sit there with a smile on my face, just sort of imagining that moment for Naomi, for even her father, not only to perform for her, but actually get to see her up close at what she does best. You know, this was definitely like her moment, and I thought that the entrance was just beautiful. It was really well done, really simple, but that's all they needed. It just showed she just wanted her dad out there seeing what she's doing, you know, and that's what came across, like a proud father walking down the entrance and watching her and performing for her. So that was a great moment. And also, can I quickly just say, I saw zero moments with Cardi B. So if she was hosting, she was in it for about 3 minutes on night one of SummerSlam, and then she was gone. I did not see her. So what was she really hosting? Just gonna put that out there. I didn't get it.
That's an
She's
excellent
nowhere
point.
on night two.
Got to get those Cardi B fans to watch.
Of course,
Just gonna
at the
promote
very
her.
beginning of night one, but why bother with night two? It's fine.
You've been spending too much time with me. Well, anyway, if this is a match, despite the babyfaces jumping on her early, Naomi eventually sees control, using inventive offense to take down the Eradicator and the Genius of the Sky. Ripley fought back low, eventually sent the champion to the floor for pairing off with Sky. Back and forth action ensued, then the previous two champions seeking to one-up each other before Naomi rejoined the fray. Sky flattened Ripley with the over the moonsault, but Leclos delivered a full Nelson bomb to almost seal the win. Chance of "This Is Awesome" reigned from the stands as Ripley blasted Sky with a big boot and followed with a sunset senton to Naomi on the floor. Io answered with a sunset flip powerbomb that drove the Australian into her opponent at ringside, and Naomi proved resourceful in this match's finale as she waited until Ripley delivered an avalanche riptide from the top rope and then rolled Mummy up for the pinfall victory. Monty, what were your thoughts on this?
I really love this match, man. It was also callbacks to the triple threat that they had with Bianca, with Naomi realizing Io was gonna do the moonsault while she was pinning Rhea. Instead of being like Bianca, she got out of the way. I love that type of stuff. Like it was like because we all know how obsessed Naomi is with Bianca, so Naomi would have watched it and known to look out for that. Little small stuff like that. I thought they really showcased Naomi well at the beginning to kind of allow her to get a dominant moment, and then we kind of mixed in what we all know we want to see, which is that eventual Rhea versus Io, matchup again. But then also Naomi would always come back and remind you that no, I'm the champ, I'm here. They represented her really well, and then I thought the finish was good because it showed that. Because again, I think we all looking at Naomi's character and just thinking about how off the like she seems just so insane at times. But it's not just that. Like she's kind of cerebral too. And this finish made her look very smart because once again, Rhea got so caught up in trying to pin Io that you forgot about that you need to that you know you need to do more than that to win the championship. I'm still here. It was a great heel way to win. I don't think it was too over. I think they kept it simple, but I thought everybody hit everything they needed to do perfectly. And I really was into this match. I gave it 4.5. I liked this match a lot, and I was very proud of Naomi for getting a moment like this because I think they mentioned this was like only like her second SummerSlam match, and think about how long Naomi has been in WWE. So for her to kind of still get this spotlight with this character at this time, that entrance and everything, and then walking out the champion, I thought was very very cool, and I thought everybody represented themselves very well.
Yeah, without a doubt. And as you speak about as well, Rhea Ripley with such a huge start that she is. But Gina, we did talk about consistency for wrestlers as well, and you can see the consistency when it's Io Sky. Just with the crowd support for her. For all three, the crowd were fully invested.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. This is how you book a women's match, right? And just seeing this women's championship match, comparing that to the championship match on night one. I'm not including the tag match in this. I'm just talking about the main championship matches. This was excellent. Every single participant in this match had their own backing. The crowd loved them all. All three of them were over, and all three of them kind of have beef with each other. Again, I loved how much they played on the whole Rhea never beaten Io thing, but then the fact that Io and Rhea do have this friendship as well. So at times they were enemies in this match, and Rhea was really trying to prove that she can beat her. But then there were other times where they were like, "Screw it, we need to work together because Naomi's kicking our asses, man." So it was just a lot of back and forth of helping each other and then going against each other, and Naomi just constantly, being beat on by them both, but then also coming in and being able to hold her own offensively with them both. They all just showcased how well that they can actually put on, a championship match at a premium live event. So for me, this was a great match, and I just loved the finish. I thought it was great. It made Naomi look strong and smart, as Monty said. And yeah, there's not really any bad thing I can say about this match.
Yeah, exactly. And Jaxie as well, even when it comes to like Rhea Ripley, we talk about kind of how dominant she is. She doesn't beat Io Sky, and she still doesn't want at SummerSlam. See that there is still things to achieve, so to speak.
Yeah, exactly. And like I don't think that, by Naomi retaining here, this affected either woman at all. This was definitely well put on. This is one of the better like sort of trios championship matches that we've seen in a long time. I think Monty and my sister brought up great points, so I won't reiterate it again. But for me, this was like one of the best matches across the entire card. This was how this started out the show so well. Everyone was so lit and hyped for this match. As you said, they were getting so many chants and sort of there was respect given to this match, especially as we pointed out, with like the little that was given to the previous women's championship match. Seeing this one was like a breath of fresh air to start out night two. So this started things really well right off of the match card.
Yeah, without doubt. And the grin on Naomi's face, and she's living her best life at the moment, and it just seems to be getting better and better. I kept in the ring, and I realised it was a replay screen, and I'm glad I wasn't going crazy the previous night. But as you said, a great way to start the show. So out of 5, Monty gave it 4.5. Gina, what would you score it?
Yeah, I'll give this a 4.5.
4.5. Jaxie?
I gave this a 5.
Give it 5. I'm going to give it 4.75 predictions. We all went Naomi, so we're all on 1. WWE did a cool thing next, celebrating 25 years since the first TLC, introducing the Dudleys and then the Hardys. And Mike Cole then announced the teams would face off at Bound for Glory. I mean, this is crazy, I mean, anybody might. I mean, Gina, did you know the Hardys and the Dudleys are going to face for the last time in TNA?
No, I did not. It was quite a shock to hear that announced here because I knew that the Hardys were still dabbling in wrestling here and there, but I don't really know too much about the Dudleys and whether they had even continued to like train at least or something. So that did come as a shock.
Yeah, without a doubt. Wild stuff. And after months of chaotic action within the tag division on Smackdown, it was only appropriate that the five most prominent teams did battle in a tables, ladders, and chairs match for the tag team championships and the team of Andrade and Ray Phoenix. The Wyatt Six, Joe Gacy, Dexter Loomis, defending against Fraxium, DIY, Motor City Machine Guns, and the Street Profits. This was a fantastic matchup. There's no doubt about that. All 10 challengers attacked Gacy and Luminous, recognizing the White Six were the greatest threat to them winning the tag title. I mean, that's kind of how you get a team over, you know. As advertised, though, the match was a car wreck, a demolition derby featuring all 12 competitors, and then Summers, Uncle Howdy, Rowe, and Candice LeRae, Nikki Cross, and BFAB all got involved. They helped helping their teams earn the victory. The Rays bump off the ladder and through another was cringeworthy. Ultimately, it was the White Six who outlasted the high risk and punishing bumps to emerge victorious for gaining the titles as the number games proved too much for the others to overcome. Gina, I mean, this was just madness at times.
Yeah, this match was chaos, but it was great chaos, if that makes sense, is what you would expect from a TLC match, is what we kind of, had it in a way with the Attitude Era TLC matches. Like it was just, bodies flying everywhere, all these high moves, bumps being taken. It was great, if you ask me. The Candice LeRae thing, I have to say, I was crying with laughter so much, especially because like John, at one point, Johnny Gargano saw her on the floor and just gave her a thumbs up and continued wrestling. It was just so funny. But there was just so many great moments in this match. We all thought that we were going to get, a repeat of Edge's spear off of the ladder into Jeff Hardy, who was hanging from the belts. We thought we was going to get reenactment with that, but Ciampa was like, "Nah, I'm going to make this my own. I'm going to make something different of it," and use that core body strength and just literally lifted himself. It was epic to watch. I just think that was just a solid moment to take from that match. Everyone at one point as well went through tables. It was just great. They were all just going one after another because all these tables were set up everywhere. And like, I think it was Ray Phoenix who delivered a beautiful Spanish fly with one of the Fraxium guys. Yeah, it was just awesome. It's one of the matches that I would say like you have to go back and watch. If I have to recommend any from the SummerSlam match cards, this is one of them.
Yeah, as you said, Jumper Hanging was great. And the splash to the outside from Lewis and Axiom were fun as well. And Jaxie, Monty did mention the numbers game coming in, but Joe Gacy took on the brunt of the punishment, it seemed as well. He really got involved.
Oh yeah, definitely. There were just some certain moments that like Joe Gacy, especially towards like the middle half of it, he was just sort of the punching bag at one point. I was like, I don't think we're gonna see him again throughout this match. So for him to come in at towards the end, there was a reason why he just took a full-on beating, probably meant for two. Yeah, I think that there were just way too many highlight moments to be able to really capture it. I personally ended up watching that match twice, because I really just like felt like I was always missing something. But it was just like sort of one of those chaotic matches that you just kind of love to see. It was just like men flying everywhere, in tables, through ladders, women getting involved, yeah, everything. It just gave it everything that everyone needed. And to be honest, they didn't really need it because they were all still hyped and lit from, sort of the opening match with the women's trios match. But this just literally heightened how exciting, like, sort of night two, like, continued on. I'd never seen the crowd so, like, loud, like, consecutively, like, two matches in a row. But they really were feeling it just as much as the crowd at home, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's the next point. It kind of felt like a WrestleMania,
Yeah.
because of how big it felt. And Monty, again, we knew these teams would all deliver, but I think when we look at the original TLC, it was like the three teams involved, the kind of the rivalries and stuff like that. Whereas maybe this time it's just like, oh, let's just throw them all together. I think there's talent in the division, but we actually need story as well.
Yeah, I think that's probably the only thing missing, but I think they did a good job of still having a good ode to like that match, the TLC that we remember from back in the day. Like you said, with the girls' involvement and just some of the spot ideas was just a great way to kind of update it And I'm just happy that they got this, man, because uh, I mean they weren't even like the tag teams hasn't been on the card for a long time, and I think the Street Profits hadn't been on a PLE, for example, in like what 16 months or something. Like that's how long it had been. So it was just cool to get them here, and then they also was allowed. Think about this. This was only like 15 minutes. Both of the triple threat and this was about 15, a little over 15 minutes. So like they went out there and really did everything and more. And then like even Uncle Howdy got involved. So it was cool, man. It was cool to just kind of see how much fun. Because I was like I said, John, I said at the beginning, this could either be one of the funnest things we've ever seen or a clusterfuck. Because I've never seen a match with that many people involved still be that good. And I think that's probably one of the most impressive things about it. But yeah, it was chaos, man. It was definitely something I would recommend, like you said, like mentioned earlier, to go back to see. And yeah. Oh, by the way, anybody who may be unfamiliar, to me, when I saw Candice do that spot, I was just like, she is still the same old demon that I knew back in the day. Because if you don't know, look up Candice LeRae pre WWE. Look up what she was doing in the Independence in America. I seen that girl get super kicked by the Young Bucks with spikes in the shoes. Candice LeRae is a tough. She's very very tough. She can do this, and that ladder bump. I'm pretty sure that ladder bump was nothing. Still terrifying to watch though, and especially like on the WWE platform, is always gonna be shocking when you see a woman go through something like that. But Candice ain't your regular woman. She's tough as hell. So this was incredible, man. I gave it 4 3/4. I loved it.
Yeah. I mean, Gina, what would you give this match?
Yeah, I'll give it the same 4 3/4. It was great.
Yeah, really good. Jaxie?
I'm giving this a 5 too.
5. I'm going to give it 4 3/4. Predictions, we all went to white 6. So we are all on 2 at this moment in time. Arguably the best rivalry in all the WWE since WrestleMania 41 concluded when Becky Lynch defended the Women's Intercontinental Championship against Lyra Valkyria in a no disqualification match. A win for Lyra would make her the first 2-time Intercontinental Champion. A loss, and she would never be allowed to challenge for the gold as long as the man held the title. The rivals brutalised each other, unloaded with their own impressive offense. Then there's some pro wrestling plunder to the mix for good measure. The cerebral Lynch bound her opponent's wrists together using a pair of zip ties, putting Lyra on the defensive for a large portion of this match. Late in the match, Bayley saved Valkyria from a significant injury at the hands of her opponent and unloaded on Lynch. A missed charge sent the role model into the front row, but she was far from out of the picture. Later, she re-emerged, accidentally blasting Lyra with a steel chain and setting up Lynch's victory via the manhandle slam. Jaxie, what were your thoughts on this?
You know what? This match was so much better than their previous one. It went hard. I have to actually give Lyra Valkyria a lot of credit for kind of like gaining a lot more of my respect in this match. Not like I didn't have a lot of respect for her previously, but I also wasn't entirely behind her, But I think that there were some certain spots there that she took very well. And I was just thinking to myself, gosh, she's going to be bruised for a while. I mean, to be handcuffed for pretty much 50% of the match, and take beatings the way she did, like I have to commend it to her. I thought both women put on a great match. I was entirely frustrated with Bayley yet again being there. And to be honest, at this point, it was pushing me more to be on Lyra's side, because I'm like, there is no reason for you to get involved in this championship match. Like, if you want to do that on your Raws or your Smackdowns or whatever, do it. But like, there is no reason for you to come out at this point, Bayley. So yeah, she fucked up, But like this was a really good way of decent storytelling, and also just a way of like, kind of showing that sometimes, like, I think Monty brought it up earlier about sometimes it's actually better to put over like the heel in this sort of storyline to actually create those story-like moments, So again, just I thought that both women did brilliantly in this match, and overall, I was gutted for Lyra and gutted for my prediction, but we saw it coming.
Well, but it's interesting because again we talk about the feud, and I do want to mention that. But Monty, we did talk about as well the time, and this was given nearly 10 more minutes than the triple threat
Yeah,
match, and the
that's
15
the
minutes more
inexcusable part.
than the Jade match, the previous 15 minutes more than the total match the previous evening. What the fuck is that about?
And like that's my point. Like that's just it's insane to me that they got 25 minutes on a SummerSlam card, and like we couldn't give Jade 10, or we couldn't give Tiffany and Jade 10. And like it's just I don't understand. I really don't get it. I don't know why. And like I said, it's already bad enough that you gave the celebrity match so much more time. You gave the celebrity match an extra 10 minutes compared to that, but you couldn't give. But then the next night it's not. So it's not a woman thing. It's not. You know what I mean? I don't even know what to
Mm,
say. But I also thought that's the crazy thing about it, James, is I can make the argument that the time hurt the match.
yeah.
Like I thought they did great. Don't get me wrong, and I thought there was some beautiful wrestling here. But that crowd that I mentioned, most of those people paid a lot of money. They're not the diehard fans watching week to week. They're doing the damn wave and popping themselves in the middle of a match like this with the storyline that you mentioned, James, has been basically the second most interesting thing that storyline since WrestleMania. And these two women are going out there kicking each other's ass for their entertainment, and the crowd is couldn't even stay interested in it enough. And I know I could make the argument. It'd be different if they were just kind of dead, because then I'd be like, oh, okay, well the first two matches were so crazy, they were wore out. But no, they're doing the wave as if this is boring or something. It's like so to me, that's a sign that maybe that the match was going a little too long because you got lulls in the match to try to get us to the 25-minute mark. But anyway, my other nitpick, other like I said, the wrestling was great. I agree with everything said earlier. Lyra, tough as hell. This match makes her look like a badass, and I think that's the greatest. I think that's overall what we get from this Becky Lynch Lyra storyline is that Lyra is a star. She's tough. She's not to be messed with. She's gained the most from this Bayley and Becky inclusion. But to me, and again, I understand we're probably going somewhere with Bayley, but to me, Bayley's inclusion here was just way too confusing. And the only reason why I say that is if you're gonna do it, then do what Becky was trying to egg her to do, which is actually turn on Lyra or whatever. Because then that would at least make sense. Because I know why you're here. But how can you make the argument that you're not trying to screw that you're not trying how can you even make the argument that you're not trying to screw Lyra in this
Mm.
situation when you don't have to be here at all? You settled your debt, you lost that match, you lost it clean. You have no reason to be here to mess with Lyra. I know you may still be mad at Becky, but that can wait at least until after this match. So what argument do we have that Bayley had to be there other than to be there to screw Lyra? And I just didn't like that because I thought if you're gonna include Bayley in this, I mentioned in the prediction that Bayley's gonna come out here, then I need a legit heel turn. They didn't even have the balls to just do that. They just had her go out there and mess up the match. And now we got to wait another 3 to 4 weeks for the character change that I think we all probably can see coming. So it's just weird to me. Why would they even do it other than, like you said, not other than just trying not to make Lyra lose clean? But I don't know. Like I said, I'm not mad about it based on the prediction because I think Becky has been great in her role and I don't mind it. But yeah, I just was kind of confused by the Bayley inclusion and I thought maybe it went a little too long. But yeah, the biggest complaint though, like you said, John, is 25 minutes versus 7. 25
Mm,
minutes versus just 15 for Naomi's match or 16 for Naomi. 25 minutes, like, okay, what are we doing here? How do they get all this extra time? But
yeah.
I don't know how they
And,
decide on that. But like, again, I'm not saying this story or this match didn't deserve a lot of time. But I want everybody to get that time.
yeah, and like I said, it again the things about them Becky Lynch, winning all the time or having the longest time on a card, even though it might not be her, it is affecting her in a way. And Gina, like I said, this was good, but it seemed a lot of people use the crowd in the crowd use this as a drinks bait. And Becky Lynch has a new theme as well. I'm gonna miss the old one. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I mean, I think she needed a new theme to match the persona that she's got because I don't think it matched her very well. But I get what you mean because it will, once it's taken away from you, it's easy to kind of feel like, oh, great, I'm going to miss it now. But I have to agree with a lot of what Monty and Jack said. I enjoyed this match, and I also thought Lyra gave such a great match. It made me open my eyes up to her as a wrestler a lot more. Um, but I also am very much in agreement with you should have just turned Bailey here if that's what you were gonna do, because it just, yeah, didn't make sense her coming out if she wasn't out there to screw Lyra. Don't say you're out here to help me. If you want to help me, then leave me to have the match to myself, which I've asked you for. So yeah, again, it does like warrant the fact that like we all know that Becky is dating Seth, and we're like, okay, so does that mean that they get more time for their match just because of that sort of thing? Is weird, because then you could have said the same, oh well, Naomi's dating one of the Usos, so they should have like prioritized her time. So it's clear like they have favorites. And they like to assume what the crowd would like to see rather than like actually just give an equal amount to everyone and say do what you can with your equal amount of time. But either way, I enjoyed the match. It was annoying to have Bailey involved, and if they don't have Bailey turn over the next few weeks, then I just feel like this whole involvement is just for nothing.
Yeah. I've got to ask you as well, because you obviously weren't at the party, but you did go for Becky Lynch over everybody else. What were the reasons behind that?
Um, I don't know. Part of me just didn't really feel like now was the time that Becky was gonna lose the belt. I felt like I actually believed Seth was injured. So in my eyes, it may not sound great, and I know like people may disagree with me, but in my eyes, I was like, okay, Seth's injured, so Becky's got to be the moneymaker here. So she's going to be like, look, Seth, I'm bringing the money home for the next couple of months while you're sat at home with your injury. So I need to keep this belt on me for the next few more months.
Hey,
I
well,
guess that's where I thought it was going. But yeah, they just wanted,
yeah.
both of them being champs for sure. But I suppose that's my
We,
main reason.
you got it. I mean, that's the main thing. We'll do out of fives as well.
I
Jackson, what would
needed
you give?
it.
Yeah, Jackson, what would you give this match?
I gave this a 4.
Give it a 4. Monty
Yeah, the girls were great in the match, man. They did great. I give it a 4 too.
and Gina.
For
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 4.25. Predictions, like we said, all went Lyra apart from Gina. So Gina's on 3, the rest on 2. Up next, a steel cage match for the United States Championship. Jacob Fatu versus Sola Sikoa. Sikoa impressed early, pounced on Fatu and dominated the action. Still, the Samoan Werewolf fought his way back into the bout and appeared on his way to his victory when the MFTs, Jason Mateo, Talatonga, and Tanga Loa interfered. And yes, boys and girls, this is a steel cage match. Jimmy Uso attempted to make the save, but a big boot from Tonga, who factored into the finish moments later. Fatu escaped and attempted handcuffing and stopped Sikoa from a cowardly escape through the door. He dispatched Mateo, but Tonga booted the door back in his face, taking him out, allowing Sikoa to fall to the floor to win. The defeated babyface did get his heat back afterwards, did a splash from the top of the cage to Loa and Mateo. Monty, what were your thoughts on this?
I called a couple of details from this. I told you he was gonna jump off the cage, and I told you handcuffs would be involved. It just made sense. Other than that, though, they like you said, James. What the hell was? Why was this even in a cage for the most part, from a match standpoint? Because they didn't really use the cage a lot, other than Solo wanting to get out of there. And so it wasn't really the best cage match in my opinion. It was kind of dull at times, and again, I thought Jacob looked strong, which is fine. But taking out the like you said, cage match, whole faction still got involved. Cage match, Jimmy Uso still come out and get involved. So again, why are we having a cage match? It's not stopping anybody from getting involved, and we're not using it as a weapon to try to hurt each other as much. And so, other than to set up the spot at the end for Tonga and the spot for Jacob to jump, yeah, we didn't really, like I said, didn't really do anything special to me that made it like we think this is a pay per view, this is a cage match. It's supposed to be a big blow off. It's supposed to be physical. Supposed to be all those things. And I just didn't think we got enough of what I'm used to in a big cage match and a big title match fight. So that's probably my biggest critique on it. But yeah, man, I don't have a problem with Solo keeping it because I think that's the best thing for right now. But man, we got to do something, man. I'm sorry. As an avid Jeff Cobb fan and just somebody who want to see Solo and the group themselves get taken more seriously, they'll never be taken seriously for real if they can't do anything with one. And I know Jacob is a different guy. I get that, but we need them to start jumping people backstage. What we need something because the MLTs as a faction to me is pretty weak. Besides the
Mm.
character work of Solo, well, that we can get to that at another time. This match itself, though, it was just okay, but it wasn't a good cage match at all.
No. And again, it's been 24 years since a cage match at SummerSlam, and then they gave you this. And I was just like, okay. And what I
See
thought
why?
was,
Don't do it again.
and honestly, I felt it's confusing. And Gina, I don't know if you felt this as well, but having zip ties and then handcuffs in back-to-back matches, I was just like, couldn't they've just avoided that? Do you know what I mean? It's like
Right.
they're all
You
strapping up
would
the
think that they
face.
would learn from the previous match or something, wouldn't you? I mean, I will admit that there was one point in the Becky and Lyra match where Lyra's hands actually did look like they got free
Mm.
of the zip tie and she put it back. And it was really quick, but my 8-year-old niece picked up on that and she was like, but her
Uh,
hands were free. And I was like, I know. And she went, so why did she put it back? And like, you try explaining to an 8-year-old why the wrestler put her hands back in those zip ties, you know? So it's funny because, you know, that moment stuck with me. So when they brought out the handcuffs in the steel cage match, I was like, oh shit, here we go again. You know?
Yeah, and as Monty said as well, Solo only really cares about the big man. The cameraman was in the ring catching the dive. And again, I mean, Jaxie, as we've spoken about now with Jacob for two, I think he's got bigger fish to fry now, you know? Maybe move over to Raw. I mean, imagine him against Gunter or Sheamus or Rusev, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I feel very much the same um about the outcome of this match or this match overall. It was like it was just a match that was kind of like there, and I know that they, you know, gave us a steel cage, but it just like it didn't do much more to like make it like a you know a banger of a match. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That being said, like we hopefully I'd like to think that we've come to an end of like the belt constantly being in limbo between Solo and Jacob, and Solo can also kind of move on to other opponents as well. But yeah, this match was there. It did what it needed to do, you know.
Yeah, yeah. But I think that you make the excellent point. It was there, you know. And again, this felt predictable. And I think the first match of the night, not passing a four for me anyway. I mean, Monty, what would you give it out of five?
3.5.
3.5. Gina,
Yeah, I'll go 3 3/4.
3 3/4. Jaxie.
3.5.
Yeah, and I'm going to go 3 3/4. So there you go. Predictions. You all went Solo. So Gina on 4, the rest on 3. As we got the Intercontinental Championship, AJ Styles versus Dominic Mysterio. Champion and Challenger wrestled a match that was one big ode to the late great Hall of Famer Eddie Guerrero from Styles' gear, which again was a shock because I've not seen AJ wearing anything different. To several trademark Guerrero spots to the finish itself. I mean, Styles even entered in a lowrider and sported tights identical to those worn by Guerrero at SummerSlam 2005 when Latino Heat fought Rey Mysterio for the custody of Dominic. There you go, Jax. There, the long-term storytelling there. You see AJ playing. He is the uncle, isn't he?
Exactly. Exactly. You know, like you got to give some great appreciation to the history lesson that AJ Styles put himself through to know all of this beforehand.
Yeah, even getting his son to have the same buzz dye blonde hairstyle as Dom had at the event, you know, like you said. A really good touch. The double Guerrero lie cheat and still spot with both guys feigning a chair shot from the other was fantastic and actually drew a great reaction for the fans in MetLife Stadium. Late in the bout, Mysterio unzipped his boot when Styles grabbed hold of his ankles, tightening the grasp on the calf crusher. The boot slid off and Mysterio slithered free. Moments later, the referee momentally hung up in the ropes. Dirty Dom blasted his challenger with the boot and delivered the frog splash for the win. Gina, what were your thoughts on this?
Do you know what? I enjoyed this match more than I thought I was going to. Don't get me wrong, I like AJ Styles, I like Dominic. But I think with the disappointment that night one had given to me in terms of matches. I didn't really just have like a lot of high hopes like going into like night two. And this match, I'm not gonna lie, it is probably one of my favorite ones. It was so good. I also feel a little biased because my niece absolutely loved this match, and I think she has a slight little crush on Dominic Mysterio. So she made me rewatch this match. I think it was 6 or 7 times, wasn't it, Jax, over the course of a
Wow.
week? So I feel like I've seen this
Yeah.
match a lot, but I think after every time of watching it and noticing one more little smart move by AJ or dickhead move by Dom just made me appreciate the match that much more. I just thoroughly enjoyed the theatrics, but also the severity of like them both wanting to get this win over each other. I think AJ, investing in different career paths just to get to Dom up to this level was amazing too. The man, took his doctorate so that he could
Yep.
be a medical staff member. You gotta thank AJ for his dedication. But yeah, it sadly didn't go in his favor, but I don't think it hurt him. I thought the match was great between them both, and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, without a doubt. And Jaxie, as you know, Gina said, there's a couple of great moments in this matchup, but it's still proved AJ still got something to give, and Dom is just getting better and better as well.
Yeah, definitely. There was just a lot of great points there, but I mean, you got to remember the amount of booze that Tom would get from even just trying to lift a microphone to his lips, and how much he's just got the crowds like sort of now cheering him on, even when he's still in an asshole phase. That's pretty hard to do, I'm very Eddie, Eddie Guerrero, especially when he turned heel, was still beloved by a lot of people for this sort of like persona he gave off. So there was a lot of like sort of callbacks to sort of Eddie's moves, even when you think about that moment with the boot. Because I swear, wasn't it a match against Batista where
Kurt
like
Angle at WrestleMania 20. Yeah,
yeah, was it Batista?
Kurt Angle.
Oh, Kurt Angle, yeah. And he went to go and do like the ankle lock. He got out of it that way. So even that was like a sort of a very much an Eddie moment in my eyes and in my opinion. But it just worked so well with it being Dom. So yeah, I think this match overall it was entertaining and really good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, again, and Monty, maybe people were expecting that, these two guys could deliver a banger, but not many could get away with this sort of matchup, and the crowd loved every moment.
Yeah, I think this is the direction to go with Dom, in my opinion, going forward. I mean, not every match, but big matches, or try to be as creative as you can be to come up with different ways to kind of do that Eddie role of cheating. But I also think he's in a great spot because if he ever was to go face, he can lean into his dad, or he can lean into Eddie, and he got so much wrestling history on his side. But he's done a great job of being so unique to who he is and still being dumb. And I think at the end of the day, Dominic Mysterio, I think John Cena said this, or other people have said it too. Dominic Mysterio, if barring major problems or injuries or anything, he can be one of the biggest stars in WWE going forward for the next decade or so because of not only his lineage and all of that, but just how much he obviously already gets it. And I think being in there with a guy like AJ, not missing a beat, and then like you said, who else could get away with telling this story and doing a match like this, and us just sitting back and having so much fun with it. So I really enjoyed it. AJ even had to give props to Dom after it. That's how clever it ended up being. And I think again, I think everybody just sat back and had a good time with this. Now I want to say this though, as a father, you might want to watch your niece if Dom is her taste already. So I'm just saying, you might have a taste for a certain type of guy.
Oh, trust me, we
I do
kept
not approve.
trying to explain
I do
what
not
a
approve.
face and a heel was, and she wasn't getting it.
Yeah, I don't approve of this at all.
Right, right. But yeah, but this was great. Very, very fun.
Yeah. From a booking perspective, I thought it was a bit weird, both mid card titles on the same night with the kind of the women's as well, like just maybe spread it out. I don't know. Maybe it was a Jelly Roll match that fucked it off. But luckily, we were all back on track after this matchup. Gina, what would you give out of 5?
Yeah, I really enjoyed the match again. I'll give it a 4.25.
4.25. Jaxie?
4.5. 4.5 is fine for me.
Monty?
I give 4.25.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 4.25 as well. Really good stuff. Predictions all went Dom. So Gina's on 5, the rest on 4. And fucking hell, Stephanie McMahon again. Jesus Christ, announcing 60,561. So apparently it was 113,722 people. Not that anybody for the first night came to the second night, all right? Fuck's sake. But we did get fireworks, so there's a bit of a bonus. Main event, WWE Championship Street Fight. Cody Rhodes versus the real John Cena. Cody came out in his mask from Mania, showing cracks and a quote from the American Dream. And there was a deafening pop from Cena's graphics, turning from black to his iconic, colourful background. And Monty, I mean, we spoke about this, I think, live, or just how good those entrances were for those two characters, you know?
Yeah, man, the Dustin quote was so great. It was like a mixture of quotes from different promos. And I love how it applied to what Cody was doing at the moment. Like that made me kind of made me emotional. And then, like you said, I thought it was genius. I knew that as soon as the plain John Cena graphic got out of the way and we got the color graphic, that oh man, I was like, yeah, that's exactly how you do it. And the reaction from the crowd was exactly what I'm sure they always expecting because we knew that this was going to be the real John Cena in this match. And it just set the tone, man. It felt like one of the biggest matches that you can make. And the interest is added to that element, man, because like I said, as a fan of both guys, sitting back and watching them to this getting to this point, I thought was really cool to see that interest.
Yeah. Really, really good stuff. And the combatants utilized weapons early as if to remind everyone that this was, in fact, a street fight. From there, the match took the form of a more traditional bout, in which Rose survived the attitude adjustment, kicking out at 2. His metal would be tested later when Cena drove him through the Spanish announce table with the same move to the delight of the majority of fans. It was not enough to keep Rose down low as the challenger kicked out at 2. The fight spilled out of the ring, through the stands, and onto the stage. I mean, Cena hoisting Rose on his shoulders on the elevated platform on the stage, delivering the attitude adjustment might have not made much sense for a lot of people watching, but still was a great spot. Before returning to the ring, where the frustration began to set in for Rhodes after failing to defeat the champion despite throwing him through a table and delivering a crossroads. He removed the turnbuckle and blasted his opponent with it twice. On the third attempt, Cena tripped him up, applied the STF with the ropes, a throwback, of course, to the classic Rumble 2007 match with Umaga. The American Nightmare escaped and eventually delivered his Roman Reigns defeating trifecta of Crossroads, but Cena kicked out. The back and forth continued until Rhodes countered an avalanche attitude adjustment through a table, delivering a Cody cut from up top, and after saluting Cena, finishing him off with another Crossroads. After the bout, Rhodes and Cena embraced in a passing of the torch moment, not unlike, as we saw Cena versus The Rock in the same building 12 years earlier. And if it ended there, it would have been a perfect night. But unfortunately, Brock Lesnar made his first WWE appearance since 2023, came into the ring and laid Cena out with an F5 to close the show. Right, a lot to unpack there, but Jaxie, Cena showed in this matchup he could still go because they started fast early and kept that pace up.
Yeah, exactly. I think this was like one of the best matches like he has produced this year. I know it's not been many, but it is actually one of the best matches that he's had this year and really just kind of showcased what he still could handle,
Yeah, without doubt, it laid rest the ghost of WrestleMania, and as we see, I don't think Monty, I don't know what you think about this, but Cody didn't have as negative reaction as he did at WrestleMania.
It kind of started off like it was going to be the same, but I think after you watch two guys do what they did, how could you like? I really feel like they gained respect because I felt like this is like the born moment of Super Cody. Like we know Super Cena, but like the stuff he kicked out of, the stuff they went through, this was the moment that made Cody that finally gave him the true title as that babyface superhero who can overcome anything. And what a perfect guy to be doing that with John Cena. And I just thought, honestly, at the time, because he had been through so much, I was like, the salute stuff, I don't know how I feel about that. But then when I thought about it, I was like, no, it was actually perfect. Because, you know, it was like a perfect passing of the torch match. I just hate that we kind of had this whole heel turn that kind of cast doubt because looking back, it's like we never even needed that. Like we could have got this at Mania in the first place.
Mm.
And not saying I don't understand. I don't mind the shock of the heel turn and how we what happened because I remember how I felt at the time. The potential was really there, and I think when you look back at this, we're gonna have to look back at this moment as one of the few times where it's like WWE have to admit. I know things fell apart with The Rock or Travis Scott, whoever you want to blame for that, but like to me, it goes back to Triple H. Or it goes back to WWE. How the hell you book a retirement tour, whether you're gonna do the heel turn or not, and you don't have the idea to where we're going with Cena in place, like months ahead. And I'm not trying to say you have to book a whole year ahead like Vince used to, but for something like this, I would like for you to have at least a rough outline of where we were going once you turn Cena heel. And I think, but besides that, this result though, the match that we got was just special. This you can make the case that this is up there with John Cena, AJ Styles back in the day. Like that's how like as Cena's best match. That's how good this was in my opinion. So for Cena to do this on his way out, special stuff, man, special stuff.
Yeah.
And I thought it was awesome for Cody because beating Roman is one thing and doing all this, but beating Cena in a babyface as a babyface in this role, what's a more crowning achievement saying that you're the face of this company, you're the good guy going forward than that?
Yeah. And again, like I said, we have seen it in history as well. So it was really, really good stuff. But like you said, with the John Cena heel turn, did feel a bit like the Star Wars trilogy, where it's like it's a great idea writing, but if you haven't got an idea, then it's going to be terrible in the end. But like I said, I think it pulled it round. The entrances onwards made this extraordinary, like I said, match of the year. But Gina, we have to address, like I said, the elephant in the room with Brock Lesnar showing up. I mean, did this do anything for you? I was trying to come up with reasons why maybe he was back.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't exactly jumping for joy at his return. Like I know that it's the elephant in the room and no one really wants to say it, but are we just gonna ignore the fact that this guy was involved with many women being humiliated and just embarrassed, and you're still gonna put him on this platform? Um, I don't know. I don't know if it's just me, but as a female, it just leaves a bad taste in my mouth a little bit. And I don't, I just, it's not that I wish him any ill will, but I just don't want to see him on my screen because that's all I think of. That's all I can
Mm.
associate him with. So I'm sorry to be a Debbie Downer on those who are big Brock Lesnar fans, and I'm happy for you guys if you're happy at his return. But for me, I can't unknow what he's been involved in, and I can't then sit there and be jumping for joy that he's returned. So yeah, for me, don't get me wrong, I was shocked when this happened, and I was like, "No, John," sort of thing, but I also wasn't exactly jumping for joy and clicking my heels at the thought of Brock being back. So yeah,
Yeah.
it was a sad moment and dramatic moment to leave SummerSlam on, and I think they did well in terms of doing that for both SummerSlam nights and having two jaw-dropping moments. But do I want to see Brock Lesnar on Raw or SmackDown in the next week? No, I don't. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I think it's right. I was trying to think, well, was Brock sent by Rock, but it seems like no one really cares about that. And like I said, for Cena's last SummerSlam, it was just, okay, they've done that, like I said, as a moment, as a surprise, and it's not worked for me as it did for night one. But again, like I said, a great main event. Jaxie, what would you give this out of 5?
Okay. I'm gonna try and like give this a rating without like sort of everything that happened after the bell went, with Brock. So because of that and just, how great the match it was in itself, I'll give this a 4 3/4. I really did enjoy it. I enjoyed what they did, but I also agree with Monty that apart from the initial heel turn, I just don't really feel like they needed to have gone down this heelish route with John Cena. But regardless, we got to where we got with this match, and I think both men did really well, regardless as to the ending.
Yeah. Monty?
The match was 5 stars. And trust me, I'm not avoiding the elephant. I just didn't want to talk. I wanted to get a match his breath, unlike WWE did. Trust me, I got a lot of feelings about Brock being there. But I will say, I'm gonna just say this about that. That, like you mentioned earlier, a lot of women was let go this past year. A lot of people in general, but a lot of women in particular were released. And during that entire time, guess who was still getting a paycheck? This entire time he's been sitting at home or whatever, he was still getting paid. He was never gone. So this illusion that they actually were doing the right thing and trying to purge themselves from the Vince McMahon trial and all of that. When it comes to Brock, they never were. He was always coming back. Is what I've come to find out. So you know, I just think it's just another one of those things where we talk about moments, we talk about the shift, but it also just goes back to the direction of the company. If it's not about printing dollars, if it's not about getting numbers and views, I don't think WWE really cares at this point. So expecting morals and expecting this and that from WWE, I really think you're going down the wrong road. And unlike you, Gina, if you are a Brock Lesnar fan and you love Brock so much that you can't even see a woman's point of view when it comes to this, yeah, I'm not happy that you're happy. I don't care about any of that because I was one of the biggest Brock Lesnar fans too. But I know that he's been accused of and been involved in some despicable stuff. And any woman who's disgusted by the sight of him, he deserves that treatment because of just what we do know, not even just the accusation, just what we do know. So the fact that there was so many people calling women out their name, telling women who don't want to watch WWE anymore because of this, that there's something wrong with them for feeling the way they feel, when even though we already got more than enough information already on Brock. For even if even if he's not the one being sued or whatever defense people came up with Brock. If you're disgusted with seeing Brock, I 100% understand and support that. And I don't see how you can be a fan or so much of a fan of a guy that you can't understand that and not understand that WWE is the one being irresponsible here by just all right. Well, hey, I hope you know what. Who cares? He's Brock Lesnar, right? We could just trot him down and no one will remember because he's Brock Lesnar. And you know what the sad part is? Based on the reaction and based on a big chunk of their fan base, they actually look right, and that's the most despicable part of it to me.
As for the match, you give it 5, low, I guess.
Yeah,
Like
five.
you talk
Match
about,
of
yeah.
five.
And Gina?
Yeah, I'll give it 4 3/4. And I definitely agree with what you said, Monty.
Yeah. I'm going to give it a 5 out of 5 predictions. We all went for John Cena apart from Gina. So that means that it finishes the restaurant for Gina on 6. So she gets not only the win for SummerSlam Night 2, but also a perfect score. So well done, Gina. I didn't do it to Monty because, I don't want to, but well done, Gina.
Thank you. I had a disastrous night 1, so I'm very happy to kind of make up for it with night 2.
So it means a bonus league now. Monty on 17, James and Jaxie on 14, Gina on 11, and WWE Monty on 7, Jaxie Gina on 5, and I'm on 3. Wow. So we'll talk
You suck,
about
James.
Thanks, mate. We'll talk about night 2 overall. Monty, you can start us off. MVP, match of the night, and a course rating out of 10.
Man, it's tough. It's hard, man. But choosing between Naomi and even though Cody, man, because I even want to give Cena props because, like you said, Cena show he can still go. Uh, Somebody, well, you know what? I don't want to force it no more. I'll go with Naomi because as a father of a daughter, I can't think of a better moment than the way that show started off for her, and then like her walking out as a winner. But Cody definitely deserves honorable mention because, like I said, he was crowned to here, so this is a crowning achievement for him and going forward. But I'm gonna give my MVP to Naomi. Uh, the night I thought this was a really good night at SummerSlam. It makes you wonder, huh, James? I wonder should SummerSlam be 2 nights? Based on this show, it shouldn't be because this was way better than night 1. So, yeah, man, I give it a overall maybe. You know what? I would give it a 9, but big guy at the end make me want to punish him. So I'm gonna give him 8.5, even though it probably deserved higher than that. But yeah, that little shock at the end for no reason at all. I would have just been happy with us leaving Cena in the ring and signing off, guys. That would have been a perfect
Mm.
ending for me. But
Yep.
anyway, yeah, I get that overall 8.5. Match of the night is the main event.
Yeah. Jaxie, what about you?
Um, I yeah, it's really hard because I actually gave quite a few 5 stars. My match of the night is gonna be Naomi, Io, and Rhea. Um, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to give my MVP to Naomi as well, I think.
What's your score out of 10?
Yeah, this was definitely the better night, and I could have done pretty much with them just merging both nights into one and just taking off a lot of the matches that were not needed or necessary on the card. I'm gonna give it an 8.5 as well because of I too think it should have been higher, but I too am feeling a little bit salty with the way they decided to end night two. So
Gina?
Yeah, I'm gonna give John Cena my MVP. I'm gonna give my match of the night to the ladies, Naomi, Io, and Rhea, and I'm also gonna go 8.5 as well.
8.5. Yeah, what's funny is that we talk about AEW being violent, but night two had one normal match with AJ and Dom, and we had a no disqualification match, a ladder, a cage, a no DQ, normal, and then no DQ. But for me, the match of the night was the main event. My MVP is John Cena for his last SummerSlam, and I do think this was the best WWE show this year. I know we had the awkwardness of Brock Lesnar at the end, but like we said, the ladder match, the triple threat to start, and of course the main event as well. So I'm going to give this 9 3/4. Post show, Joe Test, Biggie, Peter Robertsberg. Dom joined first. Then we got AJ interviewed, and Dom booed him. I love Dom. You know, it's just brilliant. The Profits hate losing. DIY and Candice is there, and Candice, who is still alive, but Johnny's voice was done. Lynch joined and said the fans can cheer, but she doesn't like him. And she got in Big E's face. Calm down. Naomi joined the panel, said she shared this moment with her family and friends, and she is the champ. Solo and the crew arrived. We got a thank you Solo chance. Oh, Solo thinks that anyway. They're saying fuck you. Cody arrived. He said it's real to him and respect to John Cena. He said he felt his dad with him. He said turning heel goes against everything that he is, even though we got Homelander chant. And Jaxie, that's quite interesting because again, we spoke about would Cody go heel, and he's got no intention as of yet.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's always room for them to like sort of like change up that creative decision. It's gonna happen at some point, but I just feel like they're gonna make the fans like hold out on the, when will he, when will he? I think we'll get a lot of like teasers leading up to that. But I don't think it's gonna be like this side of the year for sure.
Triple H was last. The fans were chanting cross, and he said, well, I gave you Brock Lesnar, isn't that enough? Apparently, it was John Cena's idea for Lesnar, but then John Cena said, no, it wasn't his idea, so who the fuck knows? And Triple H said, WWE is not sitting in a room answering questions. But, Gina, isn't this a little bit weird that they cancelled a press conference on the time where Brock Lesnar came, where maybe people would have a few questions to ask Triple H, rather than, like we said, the sycophantic fan base that was there?
Yeah, that was a very clever move on their part because you know that there would have been quite a few people who would have been trying to chuck a question or two out there saying, "What was your thinking methods in bringing Brock Lesnar here, knowing the controversy he is still wrapped up in and hasn't been, taken accountability for?" He would have gotten one or two of those questions at least. So for like I just I don't understand why they would bring Brock back and not be willing to take those questions on. If you're willing to bring him back on your TV, you should be willing to give answers to that. So in my way, that was just a cowardice move for them to not have to actually deal with that or address the situation.
Yeah, exactly. Be accountable for your actions. I think that's
Don't
an
forget how
excellent
bad he
point.
answered about Vince.
Yeah. Yeah, I
That
know.
maybe he got PTSD about the Vince question.
Honestly. Monty, I wanted to mention to you the TV deal because WWE and ESPN are about to enter into a brand new deal. This is a reported $1 billion deal but given the premium live events now to the ESPN network, including WrestleMania, SummerSlam, and everything else. The 5-year deal was valued at over 1.6 billion. Poor WWE. Such a fan. But this is quite big as well because it affects. Long gone are the days, and this is why the podcast started on the WWE Network, $9.99 a month for kind of everything, and now it seems to be all over the place, especially for you in America.
Exactly. They want us to give Peacock money. They want us to give Netflix money. They want us to give ESPN money. They want us to still pay for TV so we can watch on USA and watch the CW for NXT if you're into that. Like at this point, you're giving almost over $100 a month just to keep up with them, and like the ESPN app will be 30 a month. All I have to say about it at this point, James, is Jack Sparrow. Arr. All my pirates out there, if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about.
So, like I said, interesting when it comes to the TV deal. We'll do a few Raws and Smack, not too many. I think we'll catch up with Naomi and then call it a day because obviously we don't want to do too much. But we got Raw the next night, which of course new world champion Seth Rollins starting the show. He shames the fans for turning their back on him. So the Bronze didn't know Seth was injured either. I think that's what everybody was. Is that the reason? I don't know. And they call themselves the Vision now. And then LA Knight showed up, who was in cold storage, I guess. Fuck knows where he was. He wanted the title match, and they gave us a main event with a bronze band, which was Knight versus Seth. The action spilled to the floor, and just when it looked like Seth would stomp Knight, CM Punk came attacking Rollins, of course, for revenge on SummerSlam. Bron Breakker obliterated the best in the world with a spear, with Bronson Reed helping. Roman Reigns interrupted the show closing celebration and took the fight. He laid out Reed and Breakker, but Rollins escaped unsaved. And then again, they beat down Roman Reigns, 3 tsunamis, with Bronson Reed leaving with Reigns' shoes again. My God, the tribal freak was at it, adding to his shoe fella. Jaxie, we're talking about Bronson Reed. I know you want Bronson Reed versus Roman Reigns, but again, it's a feud based on him basically just stealing his trainers. I know it's big sign of disrespect, but that's Breakker's been called like the next WrestleMania main event talent, and it's just Bronson steals shoes,
Well, I mean, to be honest, again, this is exactly why I said like Roman's taking this shit personally now. He's like, what do you have against my trainers? Why do you keep taking them? I don't know why it is for it. It's highly entertaining, but it's also just continuously building towards this eventual one-on-one that we're going to get between them. It's just everything that Bronson's doing right now is actually quite hilarious.
Yeah, without a doubt. We move on with Raw, and we had Sheamus and Rusev went into war with a double count out. They kept brawling with Sammy getting involved. Can Sammy not get involved in everything, please? Penta beat Big G and took Xavier's hat. Charlotte and Bliss couldn't say the F word. I'm surprised how over this is with the crowd. Thankfully, Rox and Raquel interrupted, leading to a match with the champs retaining. Dom beat Dragon Lee, thanks for another El Grande, this one being Tyler Bate. They truly hate me with this gimmick. Becky Lynch tore Nikki Bella a new one, this being after Nikki had to get a new one thanks to Piper Niven. To be fair, though, Monty, I mean, Nikki did start it, didn't she? She made the shot, so then Lynch just responded, look, your relationship didn't work out, in a way. All fair,
I know they tired of hearing it. Like John, but I guess it's her turn because John had to hear it a lot when he was feuding with Roman, and they brought up Nikki Bella. So at the end of the day, it was a good. I love the way. I don't too much care for the line itself as much as I love how Becky delivered it and like set it up with the "you can't see him anymore." I'm like, okay, that was pretty cool the way she did it. They got to do something, man, because I don't hate Nikki Bella half as much as you do. And like, but to get people interested in like where we're probably going, which is a title match between Nikki Bella and Becky, they got to do something. So I'm not mad at it.
I lived it, man. That's why we'll never go over the Bellas, all right? Smackdown, the real John Cena started the show. his last couple of months will be a face, and there is so much merch sold in that crowd. And what a reception he got in Montreal. He's worried he will be forgotten, and someone that hopefully will. Logan Paul interrupted, wanting a match with Clash in Paris. McIntyre arrived, so did Cody, leading to a tag team main event. It ended in DQ. They fought backstage, did Cena and Logan, before Drew McIntyre claymored Cody Rhodes through the announce table. And this is writing Cody off TV. But Gina, we're going to get Logan versus John Cena, man. I mean, fuck me. What have we done to deserve this?
I don't know why, but I had a feeling this was coming as well. Like I don't know why like maybe they teased it, maybe Logan had mentioned something about John a few months ago, but like as soon as this kind of came into light, I was like, why did I know this was coming? And I just, yeah, I'm rolling my eyes a little bit at it. I know that I said that I was happy for the heels to get the win at SummerSlam, but that doesn't mean I like Logan Paul. That doesn't mean I want Logan Paul versus John Cena anytime soon. So yeah, I'm a bit exhausted already by it.
Yeah, no, it's bad. Elsewhere, Tala and Mateo beat Motor City Machine Guns. We got Solo versus Sami Zayn with Sami winning. The US title wasn't on the line. Candice had a big bruise. Charlotte got Bliss a cake. And we knew where their Wiz is going as well. Really badly done. Chelsea Green into that cake after losing the match as well. Melo's appearance with The Miz. And Jaxie, did you find it weird R-Truth just popping back up again after a little while? But again, with Cena being back, maybe made a little bit of sense.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely felt like seeing him pop back up was because of like sort of the face turn we got with Cena. And you know, you got to think they really should use him considering they let him go and brought him back because of the crowd. So like, you know, not having him around for too long is just not a good look when you've already brought him back, you know. So we kind of knew this was inevitable, and yeah, I was kind of confused because I don't really know what persona he's going by now. Like if he's like a bit of both, because he was there like talking like he was back to the normal R-Truth with John Cena being his childhood hero, but still had like, you know, the I'm the real wrong killings and stuff like that. You know,
Yeah.
that's his name, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So so yeah, I was just confused which R-Truth are we getting at this point. Maybe there's some storyline around there. I don't know. But yeah.
I don't think they know.
No,
That's okay.
I think we're all confused. Yeah.
I think they're winning.
Raw, CM Punk started the show, soon followed by LA Knight. Things were rosy between the two. The only issue, both wanted a title match. Paul Heyman, Bron Breakker joined by the Shoe Collector, set up a tag team main event. Of course, it ended in disqualification with Seth getting involved. Jey Uso tried to help, but the heel stood tall to end another show, and it was announced
Same
Seth Rollins.
damn finish.
Well, Monty, again, Raw is starting with Seth, ending with DQ. It was announced that Fatal 4-Way had happened with Seth Rollins, LA Knight, Jey Uso, and of course CM Punk. But again, it's just like, it's going to be the same shit for the next couple of months now, isn't it?
Yeah, that's my biggest complaint. I mean, I don't mind Seth with the bronze. I get it. But this faction so far, they don't have any. And I'm not saying you got to be the bloodline now, but I do believe after you give us something as interesting for each character as the bloodline became, to give us something like this that just feels so dull. Like you said, we know we're gonna get a promo from Seth with Paul involved, and then you're gonna, like you said, we're gonna get a main event made, and then they're gonna either stand tall or be looking down from the Seth will be looking down from the ramp at the baby faces. Like we know what's going on right now, and like the repetitiveness is the thing I can't get over. And I don't know. I want to like the faction. I want to enjoy their direction because I like everybody involved. But right now, they just don't have much chemistry as a team other than the Bruns. I think both Bruns look good together, but when you throw Self in there and we got Paul, it's just dull. And they got to do something different on a week to week basis, in my opinion, to keep me interested. Because, like you said, with Self now being fresh world champion, and we know we might not get a payoff to that run for a while, most likely, we need something better than this, man.
Yeah, without doubt. Naomi couldn't compete. We don't know why. So EO fought Perez. Rock's got the win thanks to an impending Kabuki Warriors turn. El Grande Americano pinned AJ Styles in a tag match featuring Dom and Dragon Lee. Rusev and Sami Zayn ended the DQ when Solo got involved. Lynch is doing really good work at the moment this week, beating Maxine Dupree, but it's the way she did it. I'm really enjoying it. And we learned a little bit more of Bayley, who says she's at fault. Then on SmackDown, the MFT started the show interrupted by Sami Zayn, who rejected a WWE title shot when Seth offered. Let's not forget this storyline-wise, but doesn't mind now when there's no title opportunity on the line, you know? I mean, switching brands matter. Anyway, this, of course, led to a six-man tag team main event with Jimmy, Sammy, and Jacob beating the MFTs. And Gina, there's a couple of things, like Monty said, the MFTs are fucking useless. And Sammy just moving to SmackDown now for no real reason.
Yeah, I'm so over this random, okay, now I've decided to move to rosters. It makes sense if someone wins the belt like Naomi, she won the belt of the other roster, so it makes sense for her to move over to this other roster. But that's about it. And again, it's just so random. Okay, Sammy, now you're on this side with no explanation because they got nothing else to do with you on Raw at this point, you know, not until Kevin Owens comes back or something. I don't know. But yeah, it just, like you said, it feels like it's going to go back to a repetitive thing for the next few weeks.
Him and LA Knight flipped without them telling us. That's all I know.
Yeah. What the fuck? Elsewhere, there was a massive King of the Ring logo in the middle of the ring. Just fucking crazy. Alexa Bliss beat Piper Niven. Secret Harvest stood tall at the end. Mellow Don't Miz is a thing again as they beat Fraxium, but it doesn't look like they will team for long. But I did like the colour coordination, really nice. McIntyre explained why he did what he did. He feels sorry for Cody. It was Cody. He was Cody 5 years ago and involved. He's been screwed out of it. He says he's the real update, as we got no update from Cody's injury. I mean, Jaxie, does this work? I mean, we know Drew's going to lose, don't we? But at least he's got to have a reasoning behind it.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, Drew talks a lot of shit, and sometimes like we don't actually always listen. But at this point, like we've not got a defending Cody, you know, coming back and saying this, that, and the other. So all you can do is listen to Drew and rambling on, you know. So we'll see where things lead for this. But I mean, sadly for me, with Cody picking up the win recently and the belt again, I don't see this being the sort of thing that, like, you know, Drew's going to come out on top immediately. So I just, yeah, I don't know whether or not at this point I should feel sorry for him or sad for him or what he's like being put up with, because he's already had to be partnered up with Logan Paul. I can't think of a worse punishment. I don't know what Drew did backstage.
I don't know.
Off.
Being supported by me, maybe. You know what I mean? Like,
well, you're probably the curse. You're probably the curse, James. Stop supporting.
How many feuds does he have to have with a wrestler not there as well? You know, it's like
I mean,
Punk,
yeah, I don't know.
hell.
It's becoming a thing now, you know.
Yeah, the Street Profits defeated DIY, and then Raw, and the whole Seth Rollins starting the show is getting tiring. I mean, which week am I watching now? You know, I'm going like, fuck it. Was this last week? Was this what the fuck's going on?
No.
Philadelphia gave Heyman a great reception, and Paul wished death to Tommy Dreamer after Jey Uso had arrived. I mean, WrestleMania 17 could have been different. If you don't know the story, Tommy Dreamer, who had just been fired from ECW and ECW was taken away, planned to shoot Paul Heyman live on pay-per-view at WrestleMania 17. That's what his plans were. So it could have been very, very different. And that's maybe why Paul doesn't like Tommy. Hey, Bron faced Jay in the main event in an Extreme Rules match. Bronson Reed made the save. This was after Bron Breakker, who's, you know, bad leg and all, went careening into that fucking trolley, which looked like it really, really hurt. Anyway, it wasn't about that. It was about LA Knight showing up, then Seth Rollins, and finally CM Punk, as everything turned to shit. Punk did send Knight inadvertently through a table, which, you know, kind of bought. But Roman Reigns' music played, and the OTC delivered a massive spear from nowhere to Breaker. Uso drove his rival through a table, the Uso splash, and scored the win. Elsewhere, Io Sky carried on a great form, beating Raquel, with Ripley saving her from a beatdown. Penta beat Woods. Mr. Iguana and Dragon Lee challenged the Judgment Day for tag gold. Layeska couldn't help Eva as Vikingo, who was laid out by Dom as the champs retained. Becky Lynch beat Natty. Nikki Bella made a save. No one cared. The main thing was Naomi had something to say. She directed the fans' attention to the video screen where she and husband Jimmy Uso told Stephanie McMahon's rival podcast that she's pregnant. Instead of taking a predictable route of being a straightforward babyface, she healed it up. She refused to hand over the gold, dismissing Raw GM Adam Pearce. She said the bloodline will continue, lay the championship belt in the center of the ring, and Naomi warned the locker room she'll be coming back for a title, even if it means holding her baby while she does it. I mean, Gina, I think we all get opinions on Naomi here. Gina, we knew something was up with Naomi, but this announcement and the way she did it was so fucking Naomi right now as well.
Yeah, I mean, I've just got a few points to say on this. One, I feel like they were forced to announce it on the podcast. You know, Stephanie was like, "I need more viewers for my podcast, so you will be announcing that shit there." Okay.
Before
No if
ringing their
and
parents.
yeah, yeah, like no if and buts about it. That's how you're announcing this shit. Like, so that's how it felt to me, rather than let them do a Becky Lynch and come out to the ring and be like, "Do you know what? I'm pregnant. Damn it. I'm gonna have to leave this here." You know, instead they had to be like, "I've come out to the ring to ask you to watch the TV screen." So yeah, that for me was just a little bit, okay, Steph, talk about being beggish for your podcast. But obviously I am really happy for her because I do know that she had worries about whether she could even carry a child, and that's something women do struggle with when they get older in life. You do worry about your capability of being able to carry your own child. Whereas, you know, with men, they can still go on about their business even when they got a baby on the way because they don't have to carry it. So it is a lot more difficult for women. It sucks that it has to be now because Naomi was doing the best work that she's been doing in a long time. Her heel character has just been killing it. And I'm not gonna lie, I so was looking forward to it possibly being Naomi versus Stephanie Vakir at Clash in Paris. So again, there was loads of things that they could have done with Naomi now that she's champ. But I do like the way that she went off as a heel because usually, like Becky Lynch does, like other people do, they kind of drop that heel character to be humble and say, I'm unwell or I'm pregnant, I need to go off. I will be back." But she kept her heel character and it was different from what we've kind of seen recently. So yeah, I like the fact that she told the GM to get the F out of her ring or something, get the head out of her ring. I liked that because it was kind of like, yeah, you got one angry mama like on your hands, and if you thought she's a nightmare while she's pregnant, she's going to come back even more of a nightmare, you know. So hopefully, her momentum will still be there when she gets back. But congratulations to both her and Jimmy.
Yeah, and that's what you have to say. Congratulations. But Jaxie, as Gina pointed out, what a fucking night. Not a nightmare. It's not the wrong word. Because obviously, it's a beautiful moment. But like Naomi was on fire right now, you know, and it is just a
Yeah,
shame we're going to have to wait a year for her to pick up
for
where she left
sure.
off.
I
Yeah.
I feel exactly the same as my sister. There are so many highs. Like I am so happy for her. Really, really am. I was just like the worst timing, you know, she's really at the pinnacle of her career at the moment. So this is the worst timing. But you know, unexpected surprises leads to you know, potentially you know, unexpected like sort of like highs and lows to come in the future. So I really do hope that we get her coming back. But I do think my sister just really kind of voiced thoughts and opinions on this well. Um I don't know why it needed to be on Steph's podcast either. I genuinely asked myself, well, why are you asking us to watch the TV, Naomi? Why didn't you just tell us? Like, you know, that to me just took away from it a little bit. But yeah, overall, really pleased for both her and Jimmy. I wish them both well.
Yeah, well, I won't. Fuck you, Jimmy Uso. You know what I mean? It's like, you couldn't leave it alone, Jim, could you? Big Jim for no fucking reason. Um, that's it. We'll catch up with the European tour at Clash in Paris, which I think we'll probably have about a couple of weeks' time. So, Monty, I want to obviously get your thoughts on Naomi as well. But when you wrap up what you think of WWE since SummerSlam as we head towards the Clash.
Yeah, I mean it's mixed. Like you said, I got as far as Naomi goes though, congratulations. I mean she talked about it in the past. She's had difficulties. She only got one over it. So they weren't sure that they were going to even ever be able to have children. So this is like, and she's still like, this is a high risk. So like, we all got to be praying and keep her in our thoughts that the baby gets here healthy and everything works out. Because I'm really worried because I knowing her history and knowing other women who kind of have these issues, you never know. So you just got to keep her in your thoughts and hope that baby Uso gets here, healthy and everything works out. But yeah, man, the timing it sucks because it's not the first time she mentioned it. Not the first time she had to give up a championship. She had to do it, to injury before. So now to do it this time, but at least the circumstances this time are much much better. And I think the optimistic thing is the promo that she cut in character was all about her coming back for her spot, meaning WWE knows how important she is, and right now, and her role going forward can be for them. And I think that's what I'm optimistic about. That when she does come back, she's able to pick up exactly where she left off and be an important factor. Now, the issue is, will she be a heel? Because I think people have come around to this character so much that I think they'll love her. So, but overall, I think WWE is fine. I just don't think I think they got issues in certain areas that, when it comes to storylines, that I would like to see on a week to week basis on Raw. I would like to see things more focused and just give us something different weekly. In other areas, don't even get me started on the direction of Tiffany's championship on SmackDown. I don't know exactly, like you said, I don't know where we're going with Sammy and Solo because, again, my whole argument about the cross stuff for Sammy was that I thought stuff like this was supposed to be setting him up for that eventual world title push. I don't know about challenging Solo. I don't know if that's what he needs to be doing now because that just feels like a loss in the long run. But again, MFTs, they are useless, so maybe it won't be. But anyway, like I said, we got a lot of inconsistency. Logan Paul and Cena, I'm not looking forward to it. I'm really just waiting to get this out the way because Cena literally in his promo gave a list of guys that I would love to see him fight. Hell, even if it was just like Big Jim or the Usos or Melo, like it's something Dom, like he mentioned all these people. It'd be nice to fight Jay Uso. I would love to see him fight any of them people over Logan Paul. So hopefully we can just get this out the way and then we can move on with the retirement tour. Even though I know at some point the big guy's gonna come back, and we're gonna have to get that out the way too. But so that's the thing. It's like everything with every good thing I can think of right now. It's a lot of question mark. Even with Naomi, it's such a beautiful thing what's going on there. But she was by far the most interesting women's champion and woman in wrestling to me at the moment. Besides, if you go to AEW and kind of like what they're doing, so it's really really tough when you think about it. But hopefully, going towards Clash and where whoever we have on the standing on the other side of our care can heat that up. I'm excited for like this possible looking like Oscar heel turn on EO. So maybe we can get a great heel run for Oscar to kind of fill that role that Naomi was in or something like that. That's kind of how I can see it right now, but we'll see what happens. But overall, it's like a 50-50 bag. Like I'm happy, but at the same time, that you 100% lying if you think WWE is in a great spot.
Yeah, without a doubt. So that is the way to end it. That is it. Don't forget, across all social media, X at the WNR Podcast, I'm at the WNR Pod James. You can find the entire WNR team on the banner, also now on Blue Sky, WNR Podcast, and Reddit. Jaxie, where can people find and follow you?
You can find me on Twitch, Instagram, and X at Jaxie Scarlett.
And Monty?
At Monty Pod on Twitter.
And Gina?
You can find me on the same at Purple Pain.
And send us WNR also on Facebook and Instagram. Send us an email to WNR at gmail.com and YouTube, the WNR Podcast, celebrating 10 years of the WNR Podcast on YouTube. We're going to have all the latest clips of the Forbidden Door and stuff like that with this series continuing as well. And I need to shout out WWE Batista as well, because I know he's listening. He wanted it. There you go. You get it. We also got podcasts on YouTube. The same time as we go on SoundCloud on your phone. Also Spotify and iTunes. We can download, subscribe, rate, and review there. That is it. Our next episode, we open the Forbidden Door. But is it that forbidden anymore? We'll find out. Until then, I'll be James Rowlands, who was joined by the fantastic Jaxie Scarlett. Thanks for joining me, Jaxie. Hope you enjoyed it.
It's been fun, and I'm looking forward to the next one.
And of course, the mind of Monty. I knew you get a win night one, but at least you didn't get the double, you know?
At least you lost. Keep hating, John.
Yeah. And the genius of Gina. Gina, I'm so glad you got not only winning, but getting the perfect score. You are the one to stop those two. You know that.
Oh, I'm just so grateful, really, really grateful. And I just need to try and keep the crown on top of my head, you know?
Without a doubt. Well, that is it. Thanks for listening, everybody, and bye.